the day with the dawn ringing in my ears. Oh, well, I tune into my TV show. No better way, I gotta get myself into gear. Let's go. Oh, and I feel good today with my wake up in the morning Expresso. I feel good today. It's my feel good breakfast show.
Oh yes, it's Monday morning. Welcome to it. I hope you had an incredible weekend. I'm here to serve you. But before we do anything, do that thing. Take a big breath. Feel that life inside of you, and you've been blessed officially with another dose of infinite potential and magic that you can do anything with. And you've made the right choice. You decided to spend it with us this morning. So we're here to address so much this morning. One thing that's on the top of the list, of course, is mental health. And that's during these chaotic times that we are all living in. Now, there's so much going on in the country this morning. We're talking about cholera outbreaks in Hammanskraal. We've got ever-increasing repo rates. We've got load shedding. We've got petrol price hikes, increases in grocery costs, the list goes on. But don't be afraid, Mzansi, because we're here to guide you through this space. We're here to serve you. So we've got media personality and alternative holistic health practitioner, Zoraida Jardine, joining us to hold our hand through these difficult times and offer tools to cope and prosper. So you can join us this morning and normalize mental health, and we're going to put a spotlight on everyone that's seeking help this morning, and we are here to serve you. So stick around. We've got a jam-packed show here to help you out, and someone who's definitely geared up for that is G-Man. Say good morning to this dapper-looking fella.
Oh, right back at you, son. Looking beautiful this morning. Good morning to all of you, to everyone that I bumped into over this weekend that just wanted to connect with our team. I've got to say thank you so much. It was just one of those amazing connected weekends, and I hope you're feeling that love right now. But we're going to turn that mirror onto ourselves, and we're going to look inward today. Yes, a firm focus on mental health today. I'm so happy to have one of my oldest mates in the industry, longest standing mates in the industry, Zoraida Jardine. And yes, Zoraida, I will hold your hand and you can hold ours this morning. We are going to be getting into mental health, but we thought this would be the perfect way to tell the tale. So I'd like to ask you this: what movie best describes the state of your mental health right now? Oh, I know Carl's an incredibly positive person, so it terrifies me to think of him relating to the Titanic, but if that's Carl, that's definitely me. Or it could be the other way around. What movie typifies your state of mind right now? Have a little bit of fun, because it's important that we laugh at ourselves, laugh with each other during these tense times. We'd love to hear from you. 0634088863. That's the number to stay connected throughout the show. Someone sent me a message right now, in fact. That's a great sign, but we're going to give you some conversation starters with those news headlines, and then I'll delve into the sport. A big weekend. We'll see you now.
G-Man, thank you so much. Yes, of course, we're going to dive into all that action, but for now, though, it's time to kick off with official duties. And starting off with national news headlines. Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa has appointed former Supreme Court Judge Phineas Majopela to chair a 3-member independent panel to investigate the veracity of allegations related to the docking of the Russian vessel, the Lady R, in Simonstown in December last year. Now, the government seeks to establish the circumstances that led to the docking of the ship and the alleged loading of cargo and the departure of the Lady R between the 6th and the 9th of December 2022. Now, the two other members are Advocate Leah Ngabashe, SC, as well as former Deputy Minister of Basic Education, Enver Surti. While sticking to national news headlines, Stage 5 load shedding was implemented until 5 a.m. this morning, and Stage 4 and 5 will be implemented during this week. Now, Eskom said Stage 4 load shedding would be implemented from 5 a.m. until 4 p.m. today, followed by Stage 5 from 4 p.m. until 5 a.m. tomorrow. Now, this pattern would be repeated daily until further notice, and units at Arnott, Camden, Kendall and Palmit power stations have been returned to service, but a generation unit each at Matla and Tutuka power stations were removed from service due to breakdowns. Well, from our national news headlines, we head over to international news. Now, Saudi Arabia and the United States have called for a ceasefire in Sudan to be extended. Now, both countries are monitoring the truce, which has been repeatedly violated, but called on the army and the rival paramilitary rapid support forces to continue negotiations in order to deliver urgently needed humanitarian aid. And there's growing concern about the worsening security in the Darfur region. Now, the former rebel leader and current governor of Darfur, Mini Manawi, has called on civilians to take up arms. Well, sticking to international headlines, authorities in the Ukraine say a record 54 Russian attack drones were sent down on the country early yesterday morning, of which 52 were shot down. Now, it was also reportedly the largest drone attack on the capital, Kiev, since the start of the war and resulted in one death. Now, the attacks came as Kiev Day was celebrated yesterday to commemorate the official founding of the city more than 1,500 years ago. Now, over the past month, Russia has intensified airstrikes, and this as Ukraine prepares for a long-awaited counter-offensive. Well, lastly, in our news headlines, picture this. This is definitely interesting stuff for a lot of Saffers indeed. You're boarding a flight to Johannesburg, seeking your seat number, and suddenly the face of the 20-time Grand Slam tennis champion, Roger Federer, comes into view. Now, the former world number one is right there, casually taking the seat directly behind you. Now, this was precisely the surreal experience that lucky international passengers enjoyed during a recent flight to Johannesburg. Undeniably, this is not the usual setting where one expects to encounter Federer, yet a simple, grounded demeanor outside the realm of sports competitions never ceases to amaze fans. Now, in recent weeks, the Swiss maestro, whose mother is South African, visited Lesotho as part of his charity activities. And Federer showed that his life is not all about prestigious events and private flights, and that he doesn't have any problem boarding a regular economy flight. Now, indeed, a humble legend of tennis who is sorely missed on the world courts, and hopefully we'll see more of him in South Africa. Well, that's all I have for you when it comes to news headlines. Here's the latest when it comes to sport, and G-Man has it all.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, let's talk about some of the sport this morning. Let's start with a bit of footy from the Premier League. And sadly, Leicester were relegated from the Premier League. That's just 7 years after a spectacular title triumph as Everton prolonged their 69-year stay in the English top flight by beating Bournemouth 1-0 on that final day that they could. So Leeds will also return to the Championship after 3 seasons in the Premier League as their relegation was confirmed by a 4-1 defeat at the hands of Tottenham. Abdoulaye Doucouré was Everton's hero as the French midfielder smashed home from the edge of the box on 57 minutes to spark, obviously, jubilant celebrations around Goodison Park to ensure they stay up. Then it's awards season in local football. The Mamelodi Sundowns star, Tebogo Mokoena, he understandably walked away with the biggest award of the season when he was named the PSL Footballer of the season, and rightfully so. But the Masandawana anchorman, he fended off some strong competition from teammate and goalkeeper Ronwen Williams, and then Orlando Pirates' Monapule Saleng to win that coveted award. And meanwhile, here's head coach Rurani Mokoena, who led Downs to a 6th successive league crown, was named the PSL coach of the season, beating out Pirates' Jose Riviero and outsider Gavin Hunt. Then player of the season and MTN8 last man standing went to Saleng. Then on to Formula One news, Max Verstappen survived a rain shower and the looming threat of Fernando Alonso to secure an impressive win in Monaco. Verstappen, who beat Alonso to pole position by just 0.084 seconds. We know the margins in Monaco are tiny, and he kept his cool in the slippery conditions to lead the 78-lap race from start to finish, as he secured now his 4th win of the season. Alonso finishing 27.9 seconds behind the Red Bull driver, with Esteban Ocon third for Alpine, as the Frenchman claimed only the 3rd podium of his entire career. Meant a lot for the team as well. Then we turn to the roads, but elsewhere. Mark Cavendish sprinted to victory in his final Giro Italia stage as Primož Roglic secured the overall title. So Cavendish, who will retire sadly at the end of the season, timed his kick superbly as he does to pass his rivals and claim his 17th Giro stage win in Rome. And at 38, Cavendish is the oldest rider ever to win a Giro stage. Roglic finished safely in the peloton to confirm his first Giro title, and it is his 4th Grand Tour win, having won 3 Vuelta and España titles in a row from 2019 to 2021. One has a feeling he's going to get many more, but that's where we leave our sport for now. We will chew on the gristle of all the cup action this weekend and get into a bit of racism in international sports, especially in football, over the first hour, so stick around for that. But right now, brand new week. Let's see what the brand new weather has in store.
Yeah, let's take a look at weather this morning. And first up, we've got weather news. Now, several warnings from the SA Weather Service issued Northern Cape areas can expect hail and damaging winds, and the SA Weather Service has issued several warnings for heavy and disruptive rain in several parts of the country. Now, a yellow level 3 warning for disruptive rain leading to flooding of roads and formal and informal settlements is expected over the Overberg, Cape Winelands and central Karoo of the Western Cape. Now, most of these areas experienced good soaking rains last week, and a yellow level 2 warning for severe thunderstorms, accompanied by hail and strong damaging winds, are expected over the central parts of the Northern Cape. Now, a yellow level 2 warning for disruptive rain, leading to localized flooding of susceptible settlements, roads, low-lying areas, and bridges, is expected over the Walter Sisulu, Senku, Dr. Beyers Nordier, as well as the Blue Crane Route local municipalities. Now, also on top of this, there is the Chris Hani, Amatoli, as well as the Buffalo City District municipalities, which will also be affected. And then finally, a yellow level 2 warning was also issued for winds and waves, resulting in difficulty in navigating at sea between Saldanha Bay and Plettenberg Bay. Now, we definitely hope that everybody that is experiencing these severe weather conditions stays safe and prepares accordingly. For now, though, it's time to head over from the weather news to sunrise views. And starting us off this morning, a brand new week indeed, we've got Andrew Harris, and he sent in a breathtaking view. Pillowy clouds filling the early morning sky. I absolutely love it, Andrew. Next up, we've got Desiree in Pietermaritzburg sharing a rosy view from within her garden. I love the foreground and the background. Beautiful stuff indeed. Fatah Khan comes through next, and this one's from Richards Bay, and her amazing image of the marina. The almost clear sky was filled with beautiful tones, which we absolutely love. Gina Jones comes through next from Mossel Bay, sent in a wonderful image of the blue skies. The clouds cascaded all throughout. Oh, Mzansi, starting the week on a banger. Thank you so much for sending all these incredible pictures in. Keep it coming on 063 408 8863. For now, though, let's take our first look at the temperatures across the country. Starting off in Polokwane, the day starts at a low of 9 up to a high of 24 degrees. Sunny skies expected. Mbombela much the same, 13 up to 27 degrees. Pretoria 11 is your low up to 23, and Johannesburg 8 is your low up to moderate 22 degrees Celsius. Over to Mahikeng now, the day starting at a low of 11 up to 24 degrees. Klerksdorp sees a chillier start of 9 up to moderate 25. Kimberley has some rain coming through, 12 is your low up to a high of 24 degrees. And Bloemfontein, not as much rain, 10 is your low up to a high of 24 degrees Celsius. Carrying on around the coast now and over to Richards Bay, your day starts at a low of 16 up to moderate 26 degrees. You can expect a rainfall, and much the same for Pietermaritzburg, 11 up to 22 degrees Celsius. Durban also has some wet conditions from 18 up to 24, and Mthatha, the rain continues, 12 up to a high of only 18 degrees Celsius. Carrying on around the coast now over to East London, moderate temperatures, very wet conditions, 16 is your low up to only a high of 19 degrees. Cradock, similar conditions, very wet from 10, only moving up to a max of 16. GQ Gqeberha sees the day starting at 15 up to a high of only 19 degrees. Lots of rain coming through, and much the same for George, 11 up to 17 for your max, and let us pray that it lands in those catchment areas. Moving around the coast now and carrying over to the mother city, Cape Town, rain continues and lots of it. From 12, you move up to a high of 18 degrees. Worcester sees the day starting at 9 up to a moderate 16. Sutherland, very chilly conditions from 2 degrees up to only a high of 14, and you are guaranteed to have wet conditions on your side of the world, and much the same for Uppington. Not as much rain, but wet conditions continue. 4 is a low, up to a high of 25 degrees Celsius. Again, thank you so much for the incredible pictures. Keep it coming, and we'll see you in another hour.
Regardless of the skies, some people smiling this morning. We've got to say to all the Buccaneers out there, well done, Nedbank Cup champions. They did the domestic double in cup competition. We're going to get into the gristle of that performance, what it means for their season. Likewise, Sekhukhune, brilliant season by their standards, certainly. And then, of course, we're going to delve into racism in sport. Vinicius Jr. at the centre of a storm in that area when it comes to European football right now. What buttons are being pushed and what is being done? We'll come to grips with that in just a moment.
Join the bank that's best for your loan. Choose up to 200 Rand cashback monthly with a personal loan. Apply for a personal loan and a savvy account today. Nedbank, see money differently.
Welcome back, you beauties. One name ringing in many ears this morning. Orlando Pirates went into the Nedbank Cup final on Saturday, looking to complete a domestic double, having won the MTN 8 earlier in the season. They took on, the Giant Slayer, Sekhukhune United, who have certainly earned a place of prominence this season. And they were competing, in fact, in their very first ever Nedbank Cup final, and were looking to get silverware to go with their 7th place finish in the league. It was Pirates that ran out 2-1 winners, but the game was not without its controversy, and we're going to sink our teeth into that gristle right now. Here to review the action is sports writer Ayanda Phelim and head of digital at Idiski Times, David Kappel. Ayanda, David, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure the wheels are still turning after a weekend like this, Ayanda. So much rests on these kinds of moments, certainly for Pirates, who probably weren't ever going to take this league title, so a lot rested on the domestic double. I love the fact that I've got Brian Kumalo, one of the greatest Pirates fans in the world here, and I can just see his face, what this means to Pirates. How are they looking at their season? Before we get into the controversy of that penalty, how should Pirates be feeling after doing the double? This is good.
Look, obviously, it started when they announced the coach last year in June, and everyone was calling him with names, with the fact that he's an outsider and he doesn't know the style. But Koza stuck with him in terms of faith, and he stuck with his players, and he changed the philosophy game at Pirates. He changed everything. He kind of built the momentum to where the team is big, the team is now. That coach, he's done so much. Obviously, he couldn't get the treble because of Sundowns was too powerful, but he did manage to change the will at Pirates into what he is now.
And we don't see a restructuring or a system shift like that happening within one season very often. I don't think a huge amount of hope there at the beginning of the season. Sekhukhune United. Very little imposter syndrome there in a final, their first big final, going for the silverware, albeit there were a couple of moments that turned the tide. But when you look at their performance, they were holding Pirates. They were doing incredibly well. It didn't look like this was their first ever cup final.
No, they looked incredibly well. You know, they played a huge part in the game actually being exciting. You know, they scored first. They have lots of experience also in their team. You know, I think they were excited, you know, to come this close to lift the trophy. And, you know, it was a bit unfortunate because they conceded twice in injury time. You know, first half, that penalty, and then just 2 minutes before the final whistle.
Talk me through that penalty. I mean, you almost need a moment of controversy in a cup final, so whoever loses has got someone to blame at the end of the day. But talk us through that. On Mark?
I think it was the right call, you know, because you see in the replay, at first I thought, what is he doing? Why is he blowing, you know? But in the replay, you see the hand is going towards the ball. And I think when you look at the reaction of the Sekhukhune coach, you know, he was furious at halftime. He even got a yellow card. But after the game, he was very calm. He didn't really speak about the incident. I think you've seen it on TV.
Yeah,
because when you see it on TV,
well.
you see the hand of Victor Leitsalo, who was on the floor, was going towards the ball.
Oh, there we go. Heartbreak, though, for Sekhukhune. 7th in the league, a cup final, punching way above their weight class, or are they? I mean, this is, on one side, this is unprecedented, but this is an incredible run. How do they put this season in perspective? I suppose every step is a win. But to get to a cup final, even if you're not going to win, this is massive for Sekhukhune.
Remember, they kind of, at the beginning of the season, they did the mass signing of a lot of players, and everyone was like, what are they doing? They knew. But obviously, Coach Brennan Tudor tried to work on that. He was new on the team, but tried to work on what was given. And look now where they are, finished on 7th, and then they qualified as well to CAF Confed because of they ended up as a runner-up in Nedbank Cup. So for them, it was a huge season. They beat a lot of clubs, big clubs like Chiefs twice. So you can imagine that club has done something as well.
When we talk about the step up in the ecosystem within football, to be able to get this TV time, we know kind of translates to an increase in wealth, and it's even more pronounced in leagues overseas. But for a team like Sekhukhune, just how big is this season? Because the chances are they're not going to have continued successes like this. So when you get an opportunity to play at this level, to be able to do this is massive.
It is massive. To qualify for top 8, it is massive. To finish high on this level, on Nedbank Cup as a run-up, it is massive for the club that is new. And obviously, we look at the many clubs who've done that before. Some of them are not there anymore.
Yeah, they're
but
away.
For Sekhukhune to try to keep up the momentum, we can only hope that they can do for the next few years to come.
Let's talk about celebrating for the next few years to come. Pirates fans, the Buccaneers out there must be thinking, surely the time is coming. How far away are Pirates from Sundowns? How do Pirates fans put this season into perspective, David? Is this a success? 2 cup wins, the domestic double, second in the league, but we're still not winning the title. What needs to shift? Or are we speaking too soon, getting ahead of ourselves?
No, I think you can see a shift. You can see a shift in momentum. You can see a shift, you know, in the coaching. Jose Rivera has done really well. I mean, 2 cups, you know, they haven't won in a very long time. Sundowns won the treble last season. This time they only got the league, obviously with 7 games to spare. But if you look at the table, even, you know, the second half of the season, Pirates collected more points than Sundowns, you know. So I think if they continue, if they stick to their guns, if they sign well, they can close that gap in this coming season going forward.
Get the wallet out. It's time to start shopping. I absolutely love it. This has been an amazing season. And of course, locally and abroad, there's been a lot of spice on and off the field that bears discussion. And we are going to get into racism in top flight football after the break. Stick around.
Great conversation indeed, and congratulations to all those that support the Bucks. For now, though, it's time to embark on a new journey, an extraordinary French adventure with Clover. Now, all you have to do is buy any Clover product to enter, and you can stand a chance to witness the epic clash between South Africa and Scotland live in the rugby extravaganza of a lifetime. Now, you can join Springbok legend Schalk Burger and experience the thrill firsthand in the vibrant stadiums of France. Now, I'm going to bring my man in here, G, because it doesn't stop there, bro. Like, I know this is something that you and I would absolutely love to be a part of, but listen to this. It doesn't stop there because 5 fortunate winners and their partners are going to have the chance to soar to the Mediterranean paradise of Ibiza on a luxurious cruise setting sail from the enchanting port of Marseille.
Are you happy on Smokey's face? I mean, the second I saw Scala there, just smiling and inviting me on a cruise. I'm there for that. Okay, so we're going to hit you with a few fun facts that you might not know about when it comes to Marseille. So, did you know that Marseille is the oldest city in France with a history dating back, get this, over 2,600 years. And it was founded by the Greeks in 600 BC and has since become a vibrant cultural hub, a global hub, I think.
Honestly, it's like a live walking museum everywhere you go in this place as well. Now, on top of this, Marseille is also the birthplace of the famous French seafood dish. It's called bouillabaisse. Yeah, I don't know if you can pronounce that correctly. Bouillabaisse, we don't pronounce the L there, but this flavorful stew traditionally includes various fish and shellfish, aromatic herbs, and spices. It's a must-try when it comes to culinary delights, especially when you're visiting the city. Oh, I can just smell those flavors.
Marseille is known as the sunniest city in France, in fact, enjoying approximately 300 days of sunshine each year. I love that. Its Mediterranean climate attracts tourists who flock to its beautiful beaches and vibrant outdoor cafes, understandably so. It's beautiful. The cuisine is amazing. It looks like a dream. Just throwing a little bit of rugger on top.
And you got me. You got my attention. I don't know. Have you got your attention? Well, I hope you do, because all you have to do is buy any Clover product, keep your barcode handy, then dial *120*560#, and then you follow the prompts to enter. It's that simple. Now, just simply keep watching Expresso daily to find out more information. T's and C's apply and can be found on www.clover.co.za. What are you waiting for? Get involved. Good luck.
Scala, we see you there.
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back as we continue the sporting conversation right now, kind of on and off the field, to tackle a vitally important story that broke last week. Real Madrid forward Vinicius Jr. has been the target of racist abuse several times this season, quite well publicized, in fact, in La Liga. And the latest incident against Valencia the previous weekend, Sunday, has seen him receive support from the footballing world, thankfully, with players and fans just putting their foot down, showing support for the Brazilian during the match between Real and Rayo Valenciano on Wednesday. Now, the league's president, Javier Tebas, said last week that the league could reduce the number of racist incidents in Spain's top flight in 6 or 7 months if they had the necessary powers, whatever that means. Now, here to discuss the topic more is sports writer Ayanda Phelim and David Kappel, the head of digital at Idiski Times. As much as we love to focus on field action, it's great to have these kind of opportunities to talk about this. Ayanda, I'm going to start with you. Is Spain behind the average in European football? And let's talk about European football specifically, supposedly the bastion of where global football is going. Is this a rarity, or is this just one that got onto the newspaper headlines, do you think, because of the clout and the season that Vinicius has had?
Look, it's not the first time for Vinicius to have that. I remember sometime in January, there were games before Osasuna, Mallorca and Atletico Madrid where this was happening. He's been a victim of hate crimes. It's not new, this thing happening.
His reaction speaks volumes.
In 2014, Dani Alves was subjected to the same thing where he was thrown the banana and instead he made it fashionable. Spain is that country, and the Football Federation there, obviously the president said, we admit we have the problem, but what are you doing with the problem?
When he says we could do it in 6 or 7 months, that's quite a kind of a clear timeline to be able to do something. What, David, is missing then? If he is given the powers, what are those powers? Is that banning players? How do you control an element like this that speaks to an underlying culture within the game?
Yeah, it's very difficult to control. You know, he had to say something because obviously his first comments on social media were not great. You know,
Slammed.
He was criticized for that. He later had to apologize. I don't think you can, you know, erase a problem like that within 6 months. A first step would be, you know, to actually walk off the pitch, like was discussed in this game. Maybe points deduction, you know, things like that. But you know, it's a deep-rooted problem that he won't solve in 6 months. I'm not as confident as he is by far.
So I suppose we look at it like every big problem. South Africa's great at doing that. We see the end result. We see how we manage the transition. So when we look at the tools that are in play, how we can battle this in that league, or in fact in all the top-flight European leagues. Because imagine what this means to a young player who's thinking that Vinicius has reached the pinnacle and he's okay, and you are still receiving this kind of treatment. So what do we do then to start addressing this from the player's perspective? Because ultimately they're the ones that need to be protected first in that space. How do we start addressing this? What is that first step? Is it culture? Is it football? Is it rules? How have you been able to process this?
We need to follow what in UK doing. Obviously, they're not in UK. They're not doing much, but obviously they do take steps.
They're still doing more.
Yeah, they still take steps, and then we need to. I mean, for them, they need to take those steps. Where first things first, you need to have those sessions, those seminars where you talk about it to the public. You have to go to them. 2, the police, the investigations. You don't just investigate. There must be some sort of something happening. You must ban someone. You must ban players. You must. So in Spain, nothing of sort is happening, and you can't solve that. It needs to start by going to the people, talk about it, make people aware of it, because people don't know. They think it's right. They think it's normal. So a lot of things needs to be done in going and have those seminars and go those coaching clinics where you address it from the early age, from school going up.
It feels like a broken system, and the fact that you've got probably billions going into the well-being of these players in every other area. The commercial buy-in and lead out, that value exchange, great. Then it comes to racism. Nah, Vinicius Jr., you can sort this out on your own. You must stop a top-flight international football game, put your foot down, and then we'll address the problem. This feels like a massive, massive break in the system that should be protecting these players. What does it mean for young players that are subject to this in the league, do you think? What position has this left Vinicius in when you think of this media storm around him and how much has now been put on his shoulders?
I mean, you could see in the game how shocked he was. He was, you know, he was even in tears, you know, by the reaction that he received, because it's not just two people that chant or do monkey noises, you know. It's sometimes the whole stadium. And I think he stood up because it was the first time that you actually see a player to go to the fans and say, it was you.
Yeah.
You know,
what are you doing?
you called me out. So I think his response has been great. He's taken it to social media, you know, to another level. I think he's just tired, you know, enough is enough.
Yeah.
He had to do something. And I think also the response from the coach, Carlo Ancelotti, was great because he didn't want to talk about the game. For the first time in over 1,200 games, you know, he wanted to speak about the incident, you know, raise awareness and say, this is not okay.
I think we often forget that these players, because they embody our hopes and our dreams, and for so many young kids, they're that step out of a racist system, that step out of a socio-economic system. We see that as being the bastion in the mountain to climb. How devastating for global football is this kind of political storm around a player? Ayanda, what does this do to our beautiful game when you see this kind of story surfacing and the players that are on that way up that ladder?
Dragging down to drain and making it seems like to a young person who, the real people, who someone stays not close to where this is happening, they make it look like this is normal. That takes the beautiful game down to drain. Now it makes like the young kids don't want to go to that route anymore. Yeah. Obviously, kids love sport, but now when they see this all the time, someone from Brazil, where this...
The top, the pinnacle.
They're scared of going to that route now. They're scared of playing football. Someone says, no, I don't want to be a footballer anymore if this thing is kind of fashionable.
That's not my free pass. Then what is going to get me my free pass?
I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight for my survival. I don't want to fight because I'm black or something. I don't want to keep reminding people of that.
That's what my childhood was. Yeah, I want to move past that. Well, we're not quite ready to transcend just yet. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of the story as it evolves every day, because I think you guys have taken on board how much the press has to do online and elsewhere. How do you feel? Let us know what could be done in a cultural sense within sport to use this tool, football, that is the ultimate tool of empowerment, to make sure that it gets the job done. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you, but for now, though, I think it's time to maybe celebrate. And I think you know what's coming, right? Pain comes and goes, but not with chronic pain. ActiPatch gave one lucky viewer the chance to win 5,000 Rand to help make those painful days more bearable by telling us how they manage arthritic pain. Now, we have our winner, and is on the line. Put your hands together for... Now, Daryl wrote the following. He says, to manage my pain, I ensure that I take frequent breaks, engage in regular stretching, and utilize hot and cold therapy along with massages to help soothe my sore joints. Hashtag long-lasting pain relief. Hashtag ActiPatch. And we've got Daryl on the line. Daryl, good morning. How you doing?
Morning, well, thanks, and yourself?
Oh, so good. I love starting my Monday being able to make someone happy, and I hope you are happy. You are a winner. How does it feel?
I am incredibly excited. Thank you so much.
It's an absolute pleasure. This is the best way to start the week. Tell me, chronic pain, does it slow down in your daily life? How does it affect you?
Yeah, I work in an office position at a local school, and the chronic pain affects my back and shoulders, so this ActiPatch is going to work miracles to make things better.
Oh, I like that. And it'll also allow you to then obviously keep doing what you're doing, serving and teaching and educating. So, yes, this is a win-win for everyone, I guess, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So tell me, how is this 5,000 Rand going to help you? What are you going to do with it?
I have not figured that out yet. I'm trying to figure out whether I should save it or spend it. I can't make up my mind just yet.
Okay, well, don't blow it. Make a good choice. Think about it. Breathe. Savor the moment. And congratulations! You're a winner!
Thank you so much.
Have a beautiful day, Daryl. Thank you so much for taking part in this one.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, and go keep serving those kids. I absolutely love it. That's what we're here for, Mzansi, so you can skip the strain of pain with ActiPatch. It's your long-lasting pain relief companion. So get on it and have an incredible week.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, Mzansi, welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Let's get the show on the road. We've got a professional. We've got a master in the building. We're talking about South Africa's first ever BMX Freestyle Championships, which took place over the weekend with riders from all over the country descending on the Stone Ridge Skate Park in Johannesburg. Now, pro riders competed for their share of the 35,000 Rand prize money, with Vincent Legoni coming out on top in the men's pro category. And then we had Jenna Bynes taking the top prize for women. Now, we've got a veteran here, an old school champion. We talk about Murray Lopesha in the building. He came second in this event. So put your hands together. Let's welcome him to your Feel Good studio. Brother, yes, man.
Thanks, man.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Great, and you?
Lekker. How's the body feeling after the weekend?
A little stiff, a little rough, but good. Yeah.
So, dude, second place, it's not the main title, but that's insane. How are you feeling about the result?
Oh, I'm so stoked. It's good to ride bikes with the friends out there. So, I'm happy.
So just a lekker weekend all out there for you, huh?
Yeah, dude, it was so fun.
What was the competition like, man? Was it quite a tough thing to kind of claim that second spot, or do you feel like you kind of lost it at the end? How's the competition in general?
Oh, the competition, the riding level was really good. Like, I was so surprised. Like, everyone had upped their game a lot. Yeah, I just kind of planned my runs, so I knew what I was doing. I didn't quite get everything I wanted to do. I feel like if I'd done the whole run how I wanted it, I might have come out on top.
Taken the trump, yeah.
But we're all friends, so I was so stoked to see Vinny take the win. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Now, tell me about this, because BMXing in the world of it is incredible. The stuff you guys do. Firstly, let's just establish the fact that you are athletes. It's not an easy feat moving this metal around.
Yeah.
But with this is something called freestyle BMXing, right? Is this the first time, I believe, that this has even happened in South Africa, the first time we've had this competition?
Yeah, well, we've had many contests in South Africa, but this is the first one with the ranking to say, like, you are the best in South Africa, or, like, you know, the champion, SA champ.
Yeah.
So that was the first of that kind, but we've had many events throughout the years.
All right, but this one obviously quite important, because the ranking's quite necessary for what's happening next year. We're talking about having this sport in the Olympics, dude. That's like, come on. Are you not excited?
I mean, I'm so excited to watch guys send it there, for sure. I mean, the BMX in the Olympics is park BMX, and I specialize in street.
Oh, wow. So you've been quite out of your comfort zone for this one, right?
Yeah, I was quite surprised how I did, honestly.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, it was good fun. But they also have racing in the Olympics. Racing's been in the Olympics for ages.
Yeah.
But now park's been put in, and hopefully in the future they'll put street in. And I'll be really stoked.
I can already see the smile on your face, man. Yes, and we're backing you all the way. Talk to me about the sport in general, man. Like, why is it so important to obviously have these competitions? Where do you see the growth of the sport currently taking place, and what's still needed, in your opinion?
I would love to see more skate parks being built for specifically parks, so people could pursue that properly.
Okay.
I mean, we do have a lot of skate parks in South Africa. I just feel like if we have ones that replicate the parks in the Olympics, we're going to have athletes that have a high chance of doing it.
Yes.
That being said, the level was insane. And I think Vinny could do quite well if he goes. So.
Oh, backing Vinny, of course.
Yeah.
Let's just get a little technical now. This is obviously the device, the piece of equipment that you used on the weekend. Where are the brakes, bruh? How do you stop?
Yeah, I don't have brakes. It just gets in the way for a lot of the tricks, because you're like spinning the bars around and you're doing tail whips. And if you have the cables, it just gets all tangled.
Way, all right, okay.
Some guys do run brakes and they have gyros on, but I just prefer
Man's
being brakeless.
freestyling it for real.
Yeah,
Flow
use
state.
the shoes to stop.
Okay, and you naturally would have to do that, right? Like if your tire's like kind of moving, I see the guys like put their foot like on the back of the tire, stop it. That's what you're doing as well?
Literally, yeah. I've never owned one with brakes, so.
There's only one way out. It's flat out. Look, brother, it's been absolutely exceptional having your talents in the studio. Well done again for being out of your comfort zone and still claiming a podium spot. And I think for this sport, we are all looking excitingly towards this future, because I think it's in good hands, man. With the likes of you and the rest of the champions that we have, I think things are going to be good. I guess it's just nothing but good luck for the run-up to what is going to be the best and biggest event of your life, potentially. We're talking about the Olympics, dude.
I know, it's pretty crazy, yeah.
But, dude, thank you so much again. And, yeah, wish you nothing but best of luck, and also injury-free.
Oh, thanks. We need that for sure.
Yeah, man. Cheers, brother. Nice stuff.
Thanks, Raul.
Oh, thank you so much, gentlemen. Let's change the narrative just a little bit now and start fueling one of our resident athletes. We buy groceries knowing what is in the food that we eat and where it comes from. It's not just important, it's vital, paramount. Someone on our own team who takes this very seriously is obviously our Riley Pants. He's going down to get the lowdown on the food he eats to fuel his body for a busy day in the mountains with Farmer Brown Nourish Moment. Take a look at this.
All right, well, that's a wrap on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Another beautiful day ahead of us. And what I love to do with the me time that I'm promised right now is get the endorphins flowing. It's obviously important that we fuel correctly. So let's do just that. All right, so luckily, Farmer Brown's Nourished range ticks all the boxes when it comes to doing just that, fueling for the adventure. I've got a lot of incredible ingredients in front of me, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to get our nutrition on. You ready for this? The lucky part is that I know whenever I'm using Farmer Brown's Nourished range that I get the wholesome goodness. Woohoo! Perfect for my hike. I can't get over how good chicken is, especially when it comes from Farmer Brown. And on top of that, we've got extra protein coming in from our chickpeas. They taste so good. They add more like content to your meal, and good fiber in there too. On top of that, we're adding a great carb source, and that's our butternut. Again, a nice low GI carb, so the macro balances are being ticked here. We've got protein, we've got carbs, and avo coming through from the fat. So, this one is ticking all the boxes when it comes to a good, wholesome amount of nutrition. So we essentially are definitely fueling correctly for this adventure. Nutrition means to me pretty much everything. It's the fuel to life. It's the fuel to unlocking adventure and unlocking the potential within you. If you don't fuel correctly, what are you doing? You're holding yourself back. So all you got to do to find your utmost, truest potential is eat, fuel, and get that nutrition in. It's already looking so good. I can't wait for this. What definitely for me sets Farmer Brown's Nourished meal apart from the rest is that I think they are really taking an emphasis to ensure that good quality. Using real chicken breast for one helps. That means I'm getting good quality protein, but also the fact that they're incorporating this sort of like a home feel when it comes to the flavor they're using. And it's giving me a little bit of nostalgia every time I dig into it. All right, all set. Now, you know how busy I am. Being an actor, a presenter, a model, a lifeguard, the list goes on, and it means that it's essential for me to find moments to breathe, to escape. And I think, like everybody out there going through the most, these are essential moments for all of us. So let's go find our flow state. Let's go on an adventure. I think getting outdoors and disconnecting is so important, and not just for me, but everybody. We live in such a fast-paced world. There's so much going around us, so much noise, so much busyness, so much chaos. We need these moments to escape, to find a chance to just be able to think clearly, to be clear, and to also just have a moment where your mind isn't obstructed by all the madness, and you can just be you. How beautiful does that sound? I definitely feel that fueling up with Farmer Brown's Nourished meal before this, and I'm talking about the wrap obviously, really made a difference. It gave me the energy to get all the way up here to the summit, not be dragged down, and of course being able to feel light on my feet and enjoy this moment. I'm feeling so good after the hike. It is something that has recharged me. It's given me a sense of escape and a sense of just reflecting and drowning out all the chaos around me. This is giving me clarity and fueling up my cup for the rest of the day. I mean, honestly, what's better than having a good wholesome snack like this to be able to fuel yourself in a playground as beautiful as this one? And I mean, we definitely earned it. Reaching the summit of a mountain, working out, or just using this beautiful body that we've been blessed with. It's enough to be able to celebrate a good meal like this.
Oh,
So much fun, Brad.
Tough life,
Tough
man.
life in the office.
Tough life
Yeah.
indeed, dude. But I hope, if nothing else, that just kind of planted that seed in you. Getting outdoors into that kind of space, I think it's one of those things we only realize in retrospect. You're like, wow, that's all I needed was just to get out there and
it's
just
essential.
breathe.
Daily dose of the good stuff. Now, of course, it doesn't stop there because you, Mzansi, can also stand the chance to win a Samsung bespoke microwave worth 3,000 Rand, and that's with Farmer Brown's Nourish range. Now, all you got to do, reply to the competition post on the Expresso social pages and tell us the following. Why do you think it's important to know what's in your food and where it comes from? A very, very good question indeed. Now, don't forget to use the hashtag Farmer Brown, and the competition closes Monday, the 29th of May at midnight. Your T's and C's can be found on expressoshow.com. What are you waiting for? Get out there, get involved, and nourish yourself. Farmer Brown's Nourish Crumb Chicken Breast, proudly made with the healthiest ingredients to fuel your body with wholesome goodness. They taste so good because they eat so good.
Catch Expresso this May as we highlight the importance of feminine hygiene, proudly brought to you by GynaGuard, who are also offering 10 Expresso viewers a chance to win their own hamper full of a comprehensive range of GynaGuard feminine hygiene products to the value of 1,000 Rand. Simply reply to the competition post on Expresso's Facebook, Instagram and Twitter pages using hashtag GynaGuard and hashtag #FreeToJustBe. That's this May from the 1st to the 31st right here on Expresso. T's and C's can be found on expressoshow.com.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for rejoining the conversation as we hone in on an area that I think has made a lot of South Africans very nervous over the last couple of weeks. In fact, it is a life and death situation for residents of Hammanskraal at the moment. That's because of the cholera outbreak that's killed some 24 people and now hospitalized nearly 200. Those are the numbers as of yesterday, but the numbers will surely grow. Now, Dr. Lee Govender, a healthcare practitioner in Hammanskraal, joins us via video. Doc, thank you so much for connecting with us this morning. I know very difficult time in your neck of the woods, as underpinned by the numbers that I've just gone through. Can you put it into perspective for us? Just how bad is the situation in Hammanskraal right now?
Hi, good morning. I think the numbers that you've just mentioned, I think they are much more than that. You know, simply because you basing it on one hospital, a government hospital in Hammanskraal called Jubilee Hospital, but patients are seen in clinics, in private practices, are seen in moving to other parts of the towns, nearby towns, to get medical care. And the thing is, they cannot afford a test. So doctors are treating it as a suspected cholera case, but they're not absolutely sure that it is. So I think the figures are much more than that.
That in itself is terrifying. But if we have to look at the path that brought us here, lack of reliable access to clean water, obviously one of the major issues faced by Hammanskraal residents. The community struggled with water shortages, poor water quality. A cholera outbreak surely wasn't a massive surprise.
Yeah, that's true. You know, I've been in Hammanskraal for 28 years, and for the past 12 years, Hammanskraal has been having issues with water supply and sanitation. I mean, this was addressed all the time. Promises were made, but here we are today with an outbreak.
I've got to ask, in the immediate sense, what should the reaction be when we look at a problem that is infrastructure related, systemic in that area? How do we go about treating the problem as it stands right now?
Okay, you know, as I said, a more permanent solution to clean water supply, to sanitation. And I think the main thing is educating the people in the area. I mean, there's a lack of education in the area. And this is a preventable disease. With the proper education, maybe flyers or people going out to schools and churches, this will help a lot. This will help reduce the numbers.
How do we react in the moment when we reach this sort of level? Obviously, there is a triage kind of approach needed right now. What pressure is being put on the medical situation in terms of those of you who are having to deal with the reality right now? What do you need to shift? Where can help be brought in?
You know, the thing is, firstly, like I said, education. So maybe some flies in all the surgeries, maybe some instant rapid tests to determine if we're dealing with cholera or not, instead of waiting days for results. And then, okay, from our side, we're providing the IV treatment. We've got the COVID measures in place, you know, to prevent the disease from spreading.
It seems crazy to me that we are asking a community to take better care of itself, yet there is very little care being offered to this community when you can't even trust a basic right like water. How difficult is it as a healthcare practitioner to do your job when you don't have the tools and the framework to be able to operate in that area? Because it seems to me that this is quite a complex problem that needs to be addressed on a number of levels. But when you look at the reality, just how difficult is it to keep people safe in light of this?
You know, you're absolutely right. It's a multi-level approach. At our level, all we can do is treat the patient and try to prevent the spread. But promises were made to this town years ago, promises, a whole lot of talk. Now it's time that action was taken to prevent all these preventable diseases. You know, and with us, it's difficult, it's scary. It's very scary because, honestly speaking, that hospital is not really equipped to handle the numbers that we're going to send in. So we have to consider all of this when treating a patient.
An awful moment in time to bring us to these conclusions, but at least there is light being cast on this area. We send out our hope, our love, our prayers to those families who have been affected, those who have lost loved ones. And sadly, as the doctor has pointed out, we are not near that solution just yet because the situation remains unsafe. So please, if you live in that area, be extra vigilant. Make sure that hygiene is of the utmost importance. Seek advice when you can. And of course, if you're showing any of the signs and symptoms of cholera, please connect with a healthcare practitioner. We know that there is a lot of work to be done in that area. Doctor, thank you so much for your efforts. Hopefully, we can garner more support and a shift in the situation as it stands in the long term. But thank you so much for your efforts.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.
And of course, the National Department of Health has urged the public to take those precautionary measures. Just washing your hands as a starting point is a major tool in fighting cholera. But maybe we'll get an update now as we tackle news headlines, and then I'll touch on the sport.
Yeah, thank you so much, G. Great conversation there. And we're going to stick to our national news headlines and touch on this topic right away. Now, the cholera outbreak at Hammanskraal, north of Tshwane, has now caused the deaths of 24 people, with 48 in hospital. 229 patients have been seen at the Jubilee District Hospital in Hammanskraal since the 15th of May. Now, 6 temporary tents have been erected to immediately attend to people presenting with symptoms of dehydration. Now, meanwhile, the UN chief in SA, Nelson Mufu, says they're working with the government to bring relief to affected communities and prevent a further deterioration of the situation. Well, sticking to national news headlines, President Cyril Ramaphosa has appointed former Supreme Court Judge Phineas Majopelo to chair a 3-member independent panel to investigate the veracity of allegations related to the docking of the Russian vessel, the Lady R, and this in Simonstown in December last year. Now, the government seeks to establish the circumstances that led to the docking of the ship, the alleged loading of cargo, and the departure of the Lady R between 6th and 9th December 2022. Now, the 2 other members are Advocate Leah Ngabashe SC, as well as former Deputy Minister of Basic Education, Enver Surti. Well, from our national news headlines, let's head over to international news. Now, Recep Tayyip Erdogan has won the presidential runoff and has been re-elected as Turkey's president. Now, the head of Turkey's Supreme Election Council, Ahmet Yener, late last night officially announced that Erdogan had been elected as president with 52.14% of the votes. Now, he said even if all of the results had been entered into the system, the results would not change. Now, this means Erdogan has won another 5 years in power, and he became Turkey's prime minister in 2003 and president in 2014. Well, carrying on with international headlines, Saudi Arabia and the United States have called for a ceasefire in Sudan to be extended. Now, both countries are monitoring the truce, which has been repeatedly violated, but called on the army and the rival paramilitary rapid support forces to continue negotiations in order to deliver urgently needed humanitarian aid. And there's growing concern about the worsening security in the Darfur region. Now, the former rebel leader and current governor of Darfur, Mini Minawu, has called on civilians to take up arms. Well, lastly in our headlines, something of a more lighter note. A special 4-legged friend was among the thousands of graduates awarded a diploma at the commencement ceremony of the New Jersey's Seton Hall University in the US last week. Now, Justin, a 6-year-old service dog for graduating student Grace Mirani, wagged his tail as he strode proudly across the stage at the Prudential Center in Newark. Video footage showed. Now, the Cross Labrador Golden Retriever wore a matching class of 2023 bandana as he sniffed the diploma presented to him. Now, there was a deafening roar of cheers from the crowd of families and graduates as Justin took his diploma in his mouth while accompanying Mariani, who crossed the stage in a motorized wheelchair. Now, Justin, the service dog, was awarded a diploma for attending all of Mariani's classes, and he'd mastered some 45 tasks to help Mariani become more independent. Now, she graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in education. What an incredible story I'm leaving you with, and we've got more headlines in sport right now, and G has it all.
Thank you so much. Well, let's start with football and heartbreak for some. Leicester were relegated from the Premier League just 7 years after their spectacular title triumph. That as Everton prolonged their 69-year stay in the English top flight by beating Bournemouth 1-0 on the final day. So Leeds will also return to the Championship, sadly, after 3 seasons in the Premier League, as their relegation was confirmed by a 4-1 defeat at the hands of Tottenham. Then Abdoulaye Doucouré was Everton's hero, man of the moment, as the French French midfielder smashed home from the edge of the box on 57 minutes to spark obviously jubilant celebrations around Goodison Park. Then let's bring it back home for award season in local football. And Mamelodi's Sundown star Tebogo Mokoena walked away, understandably, the biggest award winner of the season when he was named the PSL Footballer of the Season. The Masandawana anchorman fended off some pretty strong competition to get there from teammate and goalkeeper Ronwin Williams. Then, of course, Orlando Pirates standout star Monapule Saleng to win that coveted award. Meanwhile, here's head coach Rulani Mokoena, who led Downs to a 6th successive league crown. A very impressive league season, was named the PSL Coach of the Season, beating out Pirates' Jose Riviero, who's definitely had his hand up, and then outsider Gavin Hunt. Then Players Player of the Season and the MTN 8 last man standing went to a very deserving Saleng. Then on to Formula 1, 4 wheels. Max Verstappen, he was on fire yesterday. He survived a rain shower and the looming threat of Fernando Alonso to secure an impressive win in Monaco. So Verstappen, who beat Alonso to pole position by just 0.084 seconds. We know the margins are always small in Monaco. He kept us cool in the slippery conditions to lead the 78-lap race from start to finish, and in so doing secured his 4th win of the season. Alonso finishing 27.9 seconds behind the Red Bull driver, with Esteban Ocon 3rd for Alpine, as the Frenchman claimed only the 3rd podium of his career, and you can see what it meant to the team. Now, speaking of legends in the game, let's return to cycling now and 2 wheels as Mark Cavendish sprinted to victory in his final ever Giro d'Italia stage as Primoz Roglic secured the overall title. So Cavendish, who will retire sadly at the end of this season, timed his kick superbly as he normally does to pass his rivals and claim his 17th Giro stage win in Rome. And at 38 now, Cavendish is the oldest rider, in fact, ever to win a Giro stage. Roglic, on the other hand, he finished safely in the peloton to confirm his 1st Giro title. I'm sure many more to come. And it's his 4th Grand Tour win, having won 3 Vuelta a España titles in a row, in fact, from 2019 to 2021. And that's where we leave our sport for now. The roads should be starting to wake up. I know it's still dark outside, but let's get you off to the office safely. So let's start up north in Johannesburg in Sandton. In fact, there is a stationary vehicle on the N1 southbound at Allendale Road. The emergency lane is blocked. Expect delays. Approach the area with caution. Moving to the mother city in Brackenfell in Cape Town, there's congestion building already on the R300 northbound at the N1 inbound ramp. To expect delays there. Staying in Cape Town, stationary vehicle on the N2 inbound. That's after the R300. Terrible route this morning. The emergency lane is blocked. Please make sure that your headlights are on and that you approach the area with absolute caution and stay safe out there. Well, that's a wrap of your traffic. It's a brand new day, brand new weather to take in. I suppose we need to be connecting with Raul, but I can't see him anywhere. So with the amazing Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra night video feature, which we are loving putting to the test, we are taking the forecast outside in the dark because it's still pitch black out there. So get ready to hashtag share the epic as we bring you the weather in a whole new light, or lack thereof.
Oh yes, Mzansi, welcome to it. We're right outside here. My perfect place to have an office, and of course sharing the epic this morning with the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra's nightography. So we thought, let's put it to the test right now. Let's do it live, and seeing that we've got the weather coming up, let me report to you on the weather using the Galaxy right now. All right, so starting off with weather news. Now, one of the most popular tourist sites, Venetians, woke up yesterday morning to an unusual sight as patches of water in the city's central waterway appear to have turned fluorescent green. Yes, you heard correctly. Now, local authorities have collected water samples and opened an urgent investigation. Now, speculation is rife as to what may have caused the water around the famous Rialto Bridge to change color. Now, theories range from the release of dye to protests by environmental activists. Italian media reported that local police were examining CCTV footage to determine whether the release may have been a stunt to coincide with the Volgalano Regatta taking place this weekend. Now, many social media users said the images were remindful of the 1968 stunt by Argentine artist Nicolas Garcia Uriburu, and he dyed the waters of the Grand Canal green in order to raise awareness of ecological issues. Well, that's the weather news that we've got for you this morning, but of course it doesn't stop there because we're going to do sunrise views this morning too. Now, from my side of the world, the sun obviously hasn't risen up. It's still quite dark in Cape Town. I'm feeling the chill, but we're going to warm you up with some sunrise views right now. And we're starting off with Charmaine from KZN. She shared a mesmerizing view of the morning sky, and it's absolutely amazing. I love the shot, Charmaine. Thank you so much. It's definitely warming me up while I'm outside here in the cold. Next up, we've got Claudel from Umhlanga capturing a great view along her hotel. This one is absolutely beautiful. The golden tones from the sun lighting up the sky just how we like it. Next up, we've got another one from KZN. This is Tanya Hall, and she's got an image all the way along the Vlei while on a morning walk, and what a walk this one is. Beautiful stuff indeed. Lastly, for the 7 o'clock edition outside here in the cold, we're talking about Cherie Ludick from Kimberley, and she sent in a gorgeous view of the cloudy filled sky. I absolutely love it, Mzansi. Thank you for these incredible pictures. Keep it coming on 063 408 8863. And for now, though, let's take a look at our temperatures across the country. Starting off in Polokwane, the day starting at a low of 9 up to a high of 24 degrees. Umabela sees the day starting at 13 up to 27. Pretoria 11 is your low up to a moderate high of only 23 degrees. And Johannesburg 8 is your low up to a moderate 22 degrees max for the day. Carrying on around the coast now and over to Mahikeng. Your day starts on a low of 11 up to a high of 24 degrees. Klerksdorp sees the day starting at 9 up to 24. Kimberley 12 is your low up to a high of 24 with wet conditions expected. And Bloemfontein 10 is your low up to a maximum of 24 degrees to end off the day. Carrying on around the coast now and over to Richards Bay. Your day starts at a low of 16 up to a high of 26 degrees. Pietermaritzburg 11 up to 22. Durban 18 up to 24 with wet conditions coming through, and much the same from Tata. The rain comes through from 12 degrees up to a high of 18 degrees Celsius. Carrying on around the coast now, over to East London, the day starting at a low of 16 up to 19 degrees. Lots of rain coming through. A lot of wet conditions in Craddock too, 10 up to 16 degrees. GQ Gqeberha sees the day starting at 15 up to 19 degrees. A lot of rain and much the same for George. 11 up to a high of 17 degrees. And let's hope that all this rain lands in those catchment areas. Around the coast now and carrying over to the mother city. Your day starts at a low of 12 up to a high of 18. Lots of rain expected. I'm not feeling the rain just yet, but it will be coming through in a moment. Worcester sees the day starting at 9 up to 16 degrees. Sutherland 2 is your low up to a high of 14. Also lots of wet conditions. And much the same for Uppington. 4 is your low up to a high of 25 degrees Celsius. Well, Mzansi, I think it's official. We can say that nightography is definitely epic, and we're sharing it all morning long. I don't know what you think about this one, but I certainly enjoyed my office for the morning, and we'll carry on with the rest of the show right now.
Buddy, I don't know that you didn't record that yesterday in the afternoon when there was actually light. So I want one of our TV cameras, which are amazing cameras, to film you right now. I just want to see, okay, wow, and there we go, boom. And that's happening at exactly the same time. That's how you do it. Is there a big shift happening in the industry? Possibly. And it matches the color of your suit, dude. Absolutely beautiful, man. That is crazy. There is no greater way, clearly, to share the epic with you. Remember to tune in tomorrow because we are also announcing, and this is a big one, the winner of that Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus, and it might just be you.
Ready? Wow. Mia, can you send me that? Sure.
Can you send me that?
Hey, can you send me that? Sure.
Make every training day epic. Buy the Galaxy S23 series at the Galaxy Watch 5 or Watch 5 Pro and get free Galaxy Buds 2 Pro valued at $3,999. T's and C's apply.
Here's to the coffee magicians. The ones who know what you get out starts with what you put in.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, Mzansi, welcome back. It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show, and we are hopefully going to make you feel a little bit better. Now, we're talking about a very, very pertinent subject right now, something that I know we all might have dealt with or are dealing with at the moment. We're talking about depression. And depression simply does not discriminate. It knows no gender, no age, no race, and no ethnic background. Now, anybody around the world can experience it. And the fact that we all experience depression is, to some degree, what might be the one thing that we all possibly have in common. We all just experience it differently and cope with it differently too. But how do different cultures view, treat, and accept depression? Well, these are interesting questions, and of course, we've brought an incredible panel through this morning. Here with us today, we have a panel of experts to shed some light on this daunting topic. We've got counsellors Ashley Lawrence, we've got Sarah Everett, we've got Ibokazi Mtati, we've got Danielle Meyer, as well as Aluta Kibi, and is also a psychologist and a clinical psychologist at that. So let us do a little welcome firstly to this incredible panel that we have so many faces that I think can definitely shed light on this topic. We're talking about depression. I think, like I said, everybody's dealt with this, right? Yeah. You guys see it in your daily working lives in so many different forms. Bokazi, maybe I can ask you this. Despite the culture, I think there's this apparent thing that we all do face depression, right? Maybe you can talk to me about some of the causes of depression and how they maybe affect us?
Yeah, thanks for the question. And as you've said, it doesn't discriminate.
Yeah.
So it can affect anyone from any walks of life. So some of the causes of depression, I think, there's a wide range of factors that are involved. Firstly, there is a chemical imbalance, but we also look at predisposing factors. So what made this person vulnerable to developing depression in the first place? And when we look at those issues, we look at your childhood issues. Could be childhood neglect, could be being bullied at school, it could be exposure to domestic violence at home. So all of those issues impact on the developing child. And then they are more likely or more vulnerable to developing a major depressive episode. So as an adult, so there's many factors that can cause depression: unemployment, divorce, relationship issues, financial struggles. So all of that can impact on an individual and can cause a major depressive episode.
So in the world that we're in right now, where there's literally chaos around us, these are external influences that could potentially also exacerbate this, right?
Definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
and it all impacts us in different ways.
Yeah, now, I know that it impacts us, and I know one thing is great when you can identify it and you're aware of it, which is already a massive step forward. Yeah. Danielle, maybe you can assist me with this. What are some of the support options and systems in place if we're lucky enough to identify the fact that, hey, I'm dealing with depression, I need help? What are those options for us?
Right, so when we're looking at mental health through a cultural lens, right, we also need to be aware that mental health can be viewed differently based on that particular culture. So some cultures might be more open to early intervention, early treatment, other cultures might not. But support systems could vary. Identifying a support system could vary. So this could be in the form of seeking help from a mental health practitioner. It could be a trusted pastor, trusted support figure. But, for me, it's really important that we focus on psychoeducation within the communities.
Psychoeducation,
Yes, actually educating our communities and our family members how to identify the signs and symptoms of depression so they can get that support and know how to support a loved one.
All right, so I've got this question, Sarah, maybe we're going to ask you this, because in my culture, let's call it that, there was no such thing as mental problems. It was, ruk yourself reg, come right, eat concrete and deal with it. Or toughen up. That was the solution I was given. I was like, okay, I guess we don't really speak about my feelings in this culture. And even with my family and my parents as well, it was hard, just deal, this is life, deal with it. Is this a big component of how culture can affect, let's say, our mental state, number one, and our potential to develop depression at that?
Absolutely. I think I can speak from maybe my experience as a school counsellor.
Yeah.
Working at an international school, you've got such a vast range of nationalities and how a lot of cultures don't even have the word for depression.
Yes.
So recognizing that there is actually something wrong. It takes quite a while to get there, like you had said, once you actually have the privilege of knowing. But in terms of how this is viewed, you need to take on the view not just that it's the culture, but it's you need to immerse yourself into this. You know, you can't just offer advice that is from a textbook. It needs to actually make sense. Like you were saying, you know, for you it was look yourself right and then, you know, just get on with it. You know? But whereas in maybe more, let's just say European cultures, it's something that is seen as the norm.
Yes.
You know, it's something that you go there, you maybe have a monthly check-in. That's how.
And these norms, I would imagine, can possibly present barriers as well, right? I mean, barriers to so many different things. I look at barriers to even just diagnosing yourself with depression. Like, no, I don't have depression because my culture says there's no such thing. It doesn't exist. Aluta, have you experienced this? Have you seen this in your example as well? Because for me, the downside of me not knowing that depression existed was that I couldn't deal with my feelings because there was no such thing as that. Like, just push that aside, right?
Absolutely.
Do you find this being a barrier, firstly, not even being able to engage with your feelings, possibly a cultural barrier as well?
Absolutely. I mean, as individuals, you know, you can't explain behavior in the absence of beliefs, traditions, religion, you know, and all those stuff. So it's important to have a clear conceptual understanding of your client, you know, of your patient. So, you know, in some cultures, they don't emphasize that men should speak up about their emotions. You know, you should toughen up, you should solve things on your own. And as a result, you know, whenever you're going through a tough time as a man, you feel like I should solve these problems on my own up until you get to a point where you can't anymore, and you might even, you know, consider the less ideal way, which is suicide, because you've been carrying this for too long.
And you don't want to let people down or save that like, sort of feeling and emotion. Maybe for me, the question is like, when it comes to, and maybe men in general, because it feels like this is like this toxic masculinity, which we've been preconditioned to not deal with our emotion, not deal with our feelings. How do we change that, Aluta? Have you experienced a difficulty with getting people to accept and understand that emotion firstly before even getting to the point of identifying depression or anything like that?
Yeah, I think we need to change the narrative and allow a safe space for men to be vulnerable. You know, so you find a lot of men saying, or even women saying, a man who expresses his emotions is a red flag. You know, so we need to create a space where men can, you know, feel like I can talk about my feelings and talk about what's upsetting me in a space that won't be judgmental, you know, and that will also facilitate some therapeutic outcomes that will allow you to, you know, live your life in a meaningful way.
I like that, man. Let's make talking about our feelings cool. Let's make it suave, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I've got emotions. I like that. So what advice would you give? I know there's so much going on, you know, like throw it all at you now, sum it up. But what sort of advice would you give for someone that's maybe coming from a culture that has these Sorry, Ashley, apologies. So many names this morning, Ash. If we've got someone coming from this sort of culture and they have this barrier, but they have an issue and they come to you and they're like, look, I don't know what's going on. Life is just like, I'm struggling to deal right now. Life just sucks. What do you do? What do you advise them to deal with in that moment?
Yeah. No, it's a great question because we're going to have to tailor every approach to that individual. And I think a good place to start is, you know, therapists, whatever, you know, environment you're working with or in, you need to understand, like, the cultural environment. You need to understand how culture is going to impact that presentation of symptoms. And also understand that people in themselves may stigmatize themselves. So there's going to be a lot of levels to work through. And for a lot of people, they do perceive that the only type of help out there is walking into a clinic, into a therapist's office. But nowadays, with technology, there's so many resources out there that can help us access these, you know, this information, resources in a private way. And it also gives you a lot more sort of room to find a clinician, a therapist that you vibe with, essentially, that understands your background. You know, myself, like, I do really well with clients that are coming from my background, that, you know, we share that same sort of understanding of how we grew up. So I think that's important. So yeah, you know, I'd encourage people, if your family or your culture stigmatizes it, but you're feeling like something's not right, go online, educate yourself, and there's so many free resources out there. So yeah.
I absolutely love that. Ladies and gents, thank you so much. That was an incredible conversation. I wish we could just have 3 hours just to unpack this all, because I know how much insight you have and I know how much you want to help, but I think that's why we're here. We've got these incredible faces that you can reach out to. And of course, we also have that SADC line. So it's a suicide hotline. You can call the number 0800 567 567 if you are dealing with any of these issues. And anything mental health related, you can use the hotline 0800 456 789. It's okay to have feelings. It's normal. We need to engage with it. We need to discuss it. And we've got incredible people like this here to help. So this is your encouragement to go seek help and improve your life altogether.
Thank you so much, my friend. Let's do a little bit of life improving right now with a dose of care.
Introducing new Panado Pediatric Syrup 5ml sachets. They're really convenient to pack and easy to use, so you're always prepared for pain and fever, anytime, anywhere.
Well, we have found by inverting that lens and creating a safe place where we can express our love, we've seen the opposite effect. We've seen strength. And I think the greatest gift in life is having a daughter. I can speak from experience. Maybe it translates to a sister, a friend in yours that makes all the difference. Well, we've asked you to nominate a deserving daughter for a dose of care, and they could stand the chance of winning that 2,000 Rand prize. And we are very excited to announce our next winner. Can I get a drum roll, please? A massive congratulations to Danica Naidu. Yes. And of course, it was her amazing dad, Trevor, who nominated her. And this is what Trevor had to say. My daughter deserves to win this prize. She is an individual who tries hard at whatever she puts her mind to. She never backs down or gives up. Her resilience will surely make her succeed in life. Hashtag Panado SA. Hashtag a dose of care. Indeed. And we've got a very proud dad on the line right now. Very good morning, Trevor. How are you? I'm guessing speechless with emotion right now. Trevor, are you there?
Yes, I am. Sorry, it's this network that's giving me problems.
Oh, don't worry, buddy. It's the South African story. We get it. Trevor, congratulations, first of all. Well done on the winning. A beautiful nomination. I've got to ask you, please, to tell us a little bit more about your amazing daughter and what she means to you.
Okay, my daughter is 15 years old. She's a teenager. And, you know, as a 15-year-old, they are rebellious. But with our guidelines, she's going through life as we used to do it. And, you know, although she has a lot of health problems and, you know, things hasn't been that good for her, but with our positivity that runs through her, she made it through in life. And she's doing quite well for herself, I must say, and I'm very, very proud of her.
We can hear your pride, and as the dad of a girl child who's only just a little one at the moment, it makes me so excited about the prospects of her future. I've got to ask, though, when you do look back, can you share maybe one of your favorite memories of time that you guys have spent together?
Okay, you see, with my daughter now, she takes after my mom, because my mom is a very good baker.
Oh, really?
So most of the time, we spend in the kitchen. And, you know, sometimes, you know, things are a bit tight, so she makes roti, and unfortunately, sometimes we get messed with it. But you know, at the end of the day, it's building memories, and that's what it's all about.
Completely, my friend. The joy here is you get the validation not for yourself, but through your daughter. If you've got an amazing daughter, there's a reason, and it generally stems from the parents. So well done to you, my friend, for raising an empowered, gorgeous young daughter, and congratulations to both of you. That prize is on its way. Well done, Trevor.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
This is what we are here for. Daughters are the gift that just keep on giving. So show your amazing daughter some recognition with a dose of care from Panado, and here's how.
A daughter is just a little girl who grows up to be your best friend. Since daughters are such a gift of love, you can show yours how much she means to you by gifting her the chance to win a 2,000 Rand dose of care cash. Each weekday from the 22nd of May to the 2nd of June, Panado SA is giving away 2,000 Rand to a much-loved daughter. If that is a dose of care which you would love your daughter to win, enter by replying to the hashtag Panado SA and hashtag a dose of care competition post on Expresso's Instagram, Facebook and Twitter pages. Don't forget to include hashtag Panado SA and hashtag a dose of care. T's and C's can be found on expressoshow.com.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, Mzansi, welcome back. It's your Feel Good Breakfast show, and what an incredible show we've already had, talking about so much importance when it comes to our mental health. Now, here's a reminder for you. It's okay not to be okay. And strength is sometimes found in your ability to be vulnerable. Now, I know a lot of gents should pay attention to this right now, and those are two popular sayings at the moment. But what does applying them to our everyday experiences like financial difficulty and political turmoil actually look like? Well, we are excited to have media personality and alternative holistic health practitioner. We've got Zoraida Jardine in the building. She's here in studio. Let's give her a feel good welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I must say, your energy is palpable. And if I was feeling in any way kind of like a semblance of mediocrity, lowness in terms of energy, you've just lifted me up.
Wow,
You're the kind of people that people need to hang around.
Oh, yeah. I think you kind of just did the same thing there. You fed it back to me because I'm feeling really good. Let's get into this conversation because this is something I feel is so real, Zoraida. We've talked about well-being. We're talking about mental health, but we don't talk about the constant negative external pressures like our finance, right?
Yeah.
So when we're in that hole, when we're in that rut, how do we begin to tell ourselves that, listen, Paul, it's okay. You're good. Like, you're going to be okay. You're going to get through this. How do we bring that positive narrative in?
What a lovely question. Well, first of all, I think it's important to acknowledge that money makes life easier, doesn't it?
I think it does. I think we need to start acknowledging that. It definitely does help.
Money makes life easier. However, one's bank balance cannot correlate to how you value yourself in life, right? So who I am and how I show up is not correlated to my bank balance at a time.
I'm not determined by that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if anything, I think this pandemic has shown that so many people didn't save for what we didn't see coming. So in essence, I think what has happened has been so healthy for so many of us because it's allowed us to consolidate our finances, to realize that perhaps we're spending money on things that we want, as opposed to things that we need. What I've also found with this time and people going through financial upheaval is that you're recognizing that you are so much more than your finances. And not having finances will steer you in a different direction. You'll find that you'll become more creative. You'll start looking for other avenues in life that you can actually rise from. So in essence, it's a good thing. However, having said all of that, it is so important to acknowledge the anxiety and the fear around not having money because it's completely overwhelming. And of course, what's anxiety? Anxiety is the fear of the unknown, right?
Yeah.
So when you have no money, it feels like you're never going to have any money. What you need to realize is that when we look back in time, this will be a sentence in your life. It won't be your life sentence. So what's going to happen? This will pass. This time will pass. Recognize where you are, but know that it will pass.
Okay. And I like what you mentioned there because I would imagine the first step to all of this is to feel, right?
Yeah.
And to experience and go through that emotion because like you mentioned, and like we're talking about, it's okay to have that emotion. Yeah. It's real. It's something that almost becomes like a driving force for us, potentially. Yeah. When is it a good time to necessarily say to yourself, okay, I've dealt with this emotion. It's come in the form of pain. It's come in the form of forcing me to look at another opportunity. Like you mentioned, we all went through this. We had to get creative. When do we let go of that emotion and say to ourselves, okay, it's time to move on? When is that sort of mourning period enough?
Yeah. So first of all, awareness is so important, right? If you don't have awareness, you don't recognize any of those feelings. Yeah, exactly. So first of all, you know that what you're feeling is okay. Secondly, you've got to be able to ascertain if the feeling is overwhelming to a point where your life is becoming completely dysfunctional, that's when you need to start seeking alternative professional help. And you just did a segment earlier on when it comes to that. Yeah. You've got to get professional help. If finances are a strain and you can't get a professional health professional at the time, like a therapist, for example, then SADC is available. We've got Lifeline that's available. There are counselors there for you to go and speak to. I read a study recently that was done by the University of California that said that emotional support and resilience are paramount to getting you through financial constraints. So when you are in that position, if you do have an emotional structure, support structure, tap into them, allow them into your life, and hang out with the positive people because they will aid you in building up that resilience.
I love that. Taking my notes down, implementing. And this conversation is not stopping. Mzansi, this is something incredible. This is something that I think we are all dealing with right now. But as you heard, the first and most important step, acknowledge your feelings. Really engage with those feelings and pay attention to it, because I think this is the first thing to creating and heightening your awareness. And as you've just heard, we're going to continue with this conversation and dive into more of what it means to really unlock your mind and find that positive spin on what's happening in the chaotic world that we all live in. We'll see you after this.
Very excited right now to have us joined on our Expresso stage this morning by Conker, the talented, unbelievably talented and ridiculously energetic young man's rise has been a sight to behold. He's exploded onto the scene with his now 4-time platinum debut single. 4 times over, baby. Kancane, alongside an award-winning amapiano singer, Musa Keys. There is a reason why people are loving this kid. Can we give him a very feel-good welcome to the show? Oh, my boy, I wish we were thousands. I wish we were a stadium full of people, because your energy demands that, buddy. Before I ask you how your musical journey started, where does this energy, this vibe come from, my brother? Talk me through the person that you are, because your personality just explodes every time you perform, bro.
Actually, if we get to know Gonke is a very humble guy. Like, he introverts. So
really?
Exactly. But on stage, you know, just activate that button and then you're nice. You start moving.
And how good does that feel for a youngster who hasn't tasted that yet, but has the chops, has the talent, has the goal, the reward when you get to step onto stage and you hear your own music being sung back to you? What does that feel like, bro?
Like, that feeling, I believe that feeling is the best feeling ever. It's beyond the money and anything. Being on stage and having people to sing your song is the best thing ever. I believe that feeling is more than you maybe finding a new job or whatsoever.
Yeah. Because it represents so much work going into that. Exactly. That being said, where did this journey begin? What was that moment, or maybe that person, that helped you just step up and say, okay, I'm going to make this real now, I'm going to do this?
Exactly. Everything started, I think it was last year, March, when I got to meet Musa Keys. From that takes, things started moving, because Keys saw the message and texted me 2 days after Kancane was recorded. A brother from Durban coming to Josie for the first time, recording it 4 times platinum.
Sure.
It's actually an amazing job.
It's amazing. Well, unfortunately, it's created the level that you have to achieve now with every hit. Talk us through Kancane, this song. There is something about it that people just connect to, man. What do you think it is about this song that just rocks?
Kancane is a love song. So it's highly impossible for you to not love anyone in this song.
I love it. Well, we love you for being here this morning. We love the fact that you are just starting on your journey, but already just smashing the roof off. So without further ado, I'm going to let you do what you love the most and perform. And just imagine there are thousands, only a couple of million watching you right now. Brother, enjoy and savor this moment. Performing his debut single, 4 times platinum, Kancane, take it away.
Let's go, Kancane, kancane. Kancane, kancane. Uhambe kancane, kancane. Kancane, kancane. Kancane, kancane. Hey, itela uhambe kancane, kancane. Thando lethu livusa abalele ngalo malume. Balandele nabo batela ushwele kuselala malone. Isigubhu susayolathele. Let's go. Ethi sithathe tuthela. Sondela maidala. Unini bezama ukuhlukanisa. Manje jabulile bathula bathinya. Kodwa sexabana babenduka basaka. Siqinisela maidala. Uthando lami nawe bayoze balwazi. Bayeka ukukhuluma noma yini abangayazi. Bamukele isimo bayeka ukuthaka. Angithi santombazana wena vele ubungazi. Chiefs on high scale. Uzamanje kela bakhelele. Tshela bangazi sesifile. Ulale. Angithi santombazana wena vele ubungazi. Chiefs on high scale. Uzamanje kela bakhelele. Tshela bangazi sesifile. Angithi santombazana wena vele ubungazi. Chiefs on high scale. Uzamanje kela bakhelele. Tshela bangazi sesifile. Ulale. Angithi santombazana wena vele ubungazi. Chiefs on high scale. Uzamanje kela bakhelele. Tshela bangazi sesifile.
Oh, get on your feel-good breakfast show if you haven't already. Download it now. Mandela's another banger. It's just dropped. The EP is there. It's going to be performed in just a moment. Stick around. 2 more performances coming from this young genius. Stick around. Beautiful. Dude. Nice.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
You can see the glow in my eyes as we reconnect with someone who is very special in my own path through this industry. We are continuing our conversation around mental well-being in today's chaos with media personality and alternative holistic health practitioner, Sarada Jardine. Earlier, we discussed keeping mentally healthy amidst financial insecurity, which I think we've all had a taste of on various levels. We're now looking at taking care of your well-being amidst political turmoil. See, it feels like, first of all, it's so good to see you.
I know,
It really is so special. And I'll touch on a moment that I had with you early on in probably both of our careers just now. But I've got to ask, because we exist in a space where you almost have to plug into the chaos.
Yeah.
I need to ask critical questions about what's going on when it comes to load shedding, when it comes to these polarities that we're seeing within the political construct. It is very difficult for me not to take it on board and for that to inform the rest of my day. We need to know the stuff, but it's hurting us when we know it. As someone who is living in the space, trying to process, how do you go through one day of dealing with South African newspapers?
So, yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, first of all, let me start with know thyself. So, if I take myself, for example, I am an empath.
Yeah.
So if I read a story that is heartbreaking, it sits with me and I find it really hard to shake. So know thyself. Start there. So what I would do, because we are in a landscape of insurmountable amounts of chaos at the moment, not only in South Africa, but globally. So if you're someone that likes to check in with the news, and I think it's important that we check in with the news, maybe start curating how often you do that. So perhaps you check the news every Friday.
And where you get your news
Exactly,
from.
exactly. It's got to be reliable sources. Maybe you check your news every Friday and you look at the week that was, okay? If you're the kind of person like I am where things stay with you. Or you start, the wonderful thing about where we're living in today's day and age is that we're able to curate what we hear, we're able to curate what we see. So become deliberately selective about the news sources that you look at. If you are looking at news sources and they tell you about what's happening in the world globally and in South Africa, you've got to balance that with positive content as well.
For sure.
Because if you don't do that, you're going to find yourself in a really negative space and spiral that goes down all the time.
And unfortunately, the system supports that. So we've got a system that creates a vacuum for negative news that gets filled as a mechanism for selling papers, for clickbait, for driving this news out there within these spaces as an algorithm. But you're absolutely right. We do have control within that. We can curate what and how we see it. That being said, everything moves. I was joking about saying that being said so many times on the show, but we've reached this point where you are constantly assessing, you're elastic, you're evolving as you take this information on. I almost hyphenate the word challenge and solution now because that's where we're at. And despite the craziness and the chaos, I'm feeling more positive now than I ever have. There is almost a counterbalance to all the negativity. Do you think this is the opportunity the purpose-driven people, the people who have made this their life calling, have been waiting for? How does a purpose-driven life now respond to these challenges?
Beautiful question. There's no doubt that you're doing what you do for a reason. Wow, beautiful question. Absolutely, Graham. You know, I feel, so I coined a term not too long ago called LAD, which is load shedding affective disorder. And I took it from the word SAD, which is seasonal affective disorder, which is what people who live, you know, overseas in really cold climates suffer when they go through really cold winters. And what happens is that you start getting psychological symptoms like depression, anxiety, mood swings, oversleeping, not sleeping enough, and the very same thing is happening to us in South Africa at the moment, isn't it? I mean, you speak to people about load shedding, those that are not privileged enough to have inverters and solars, and they're going through real depression. And then you also find yourself comparing yourself to the people you do know that have generators or have inverters.
How come I can't live?
So all of that impacts our sense of well-being. And with me being an empath, that happened to me too last year. So what I had to do was I had to distance myself from all of that, change perspective, which is what you're talking about. You change your perspective and you start looking at life through a different lens. Because the reality is that the grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is green where you water it. Okay, so what I do when I find myself in that situation where I know that it's important to hone into purpose, I ask myself, what else is the rest of the world going through that I'm not going through right now? And what you'll find 9 out of 10 times is that we're actually okay.
Yeah.
We're actually okay. So find ways that you can build resilience, that you can build tolerance and adaptability. If you find that you can be adaptable in today's time, there is nothing in the world that you won't be able to get through.
Yeah. And I've noticed in our job that does connect all these different industries, this nexus, our time has come. The purpose-driven have been pushed to the front of the queue. I absolutely love that. It often starts with a practical step, just like breathing. So we're going to look at how you can foster positive energy, not tomorrow, not when you reach the top of the mountain, with your next breath. Stick around.
Oh, I definitely can't wait for that, so stick around for that. I'm Zanzi, but for now, though, it's time to discuss and chat with you once again about what movie best describes the state of your mental health right now. We asked you to share your titles via voice note on 063-408-8863 and also come through on our Instagram, Facebook, and all socials channels. And of course, you did the thing. So let's see what y'all have to say. We've got Leanne Chiachu Neft. She says, good morning, fam bam. Good morning to you. I have two, if I should mention it, 5 feet apart and The Fault in Our Stars. Whoa, that was a deep movie. The best movies also might describe me too. Have an awesome day, everyone. Expresso Morning Show, SABC3. Nice choices there. Those are deep, meaningful movies. I absolutely love it. Next up, we got Gary Okamp. He comes through and says, grumpy old men. I love that one. He also said that 2 hours ago, so I don't even know if the show was on then, so that's possibly why he was grumpy, because the show hadn't started. I feel you. I get you. Don't worry about that. You got Melissa Lee Pecker who says, Fast and Furious movies, especially Fast 9 and Fast X. What does that mean, Melissa? Are you heading into space? What's happening? You're living the fast life, I guess? Oh, nice. I see what you did there. We got Kayleen Poole who says, Olympus Has Fallen. Oh, that is a great movie. I know that means that possibly you are going through something right now, or you may be falling, but don't worry. Keep watching the show. We're here to lift up your spirits and lift you all up. Come through and let us know what movie best represents your state of mental health right now. And share those thoughts on 063-408-8863. We'd love to hear from you. See you in just a bit as we carry on improving your mental state.
Making a cappuccino with thick creamy froth is now impressively easy.
how you can generously give a voice to storytime. Visit our library of homegrown audio stories at cadbury.co.za.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
So I've got one of my longest standing, I want to say oldest, but she's not old. She's one of my longest standing friends in the industry. Zareta Jardine is here, chatting about mental well-being. So now that you're starting to get a bit of a beat on this game, what's the first thing you do to start that positive engine?
Oh, wow, there's so much. But the first thing is definitely the first thing we've come into the world with and the last thing we leave with, our breath.
We just breathe. We're going to teach you
yeah.
how to breathe on the other side of some news stories that are probably going to freak you out and get your breath panting. So, Zareta, I'm going to ask you to go back to the old days, if you will, and please link us into the news with Ryle.
Oh, wow. Hi. Gosh, I don't even know how to do this anymore. I'm on another camera. Here we go. Thank you, cameraman. We're about to go into the news. Breathe.
Breathe.
Nicely done. Of course, national duties and official duties are commencing, and we're starting off with national news headlines. Now, the Makana municipality in the Eastern Cape has issued a boil water notice after E. coli was detected in water samples. Now, spokesperson Anele Mjekula said the municipality has received water testing results from resampling done, which indicated the presence of E. coli. Now, he said consumers were advised to take precautionary measures such as to boil water before drinking. Now, he also added that the Makana municipality would do regular water tests and take appropriate actions to ensure that results meet the prescribed drinking water quality standards. Well, sticking to national news headlines, the cholera outbreak at Hammanskraal, north of Tshwane, has now caused the deaths of 24 people, with 48 in hospital. Now, 229 patients have been seen at the Jubilee District Hospital in Hammanskraal since the 15th of May, and 6 temporary tents have been erected to immediately attend to people presenting with symptoms of dehydration. Now, meanwhile, the UN chief in SA, Nelson Mufu, says they're working with the government to bring relief to affected communities and prevent a further deterioration of the situation. Well, from our national news headlines, let's head over to international news. Now, Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni has confirmed that hundreds of al-Shabaab militants stormed a Ugandan army base in Somalia. Now, reports state that a number of the Ugandan soldiers stationed there did not defend the base, but fled to another base some distance away. Now, the attackers destroyed a large amount of Ugandan army equipment in the base, and al-Shabaab has announced that they also captured a number of the soldiers. Now, no further details are available at this stage. Well, sticking to international headlines, Recep Tayyip Erdogan has won the presidential runoff and has been re-elected as Turkey's president. Now, the head of Turkey's Supreme Election Council, Ahmet Yener, late last night officially announced that Erdogan had been elected as president with 52.14% of the votes. Now, he said even if all of the results had not been entered into the system, the results would not change. Now, this means Erdogan has won another 5 years in power, and he became Turkey's prime minister in 2003 and president in 2014. Well, lastly in our headlines, something that might have definitely given a smile to a lot of Safa's faces. Picture this. You're boarding a flight to Johannesburg, seeking your seat number, and suddenly the face of the 20-time Grand Slam tennis champion Roger Federer comes into view. Now, the former world number one is right there, casually taking the seat directly behind you. And this was precisely the surreal experience that lucky international passengers enjoyed during a recent flight to Johannesburg. Undeniably, this is not the usual setting where one expects to encounter Federer, yet a simple, grounded demeanor outside the realm of sports and competitions never ceases to amaze fans. Now, in recent weeks, the Swiss maestro, whose mother is South African, visited Lesotho as part of his charity activities. And Federer showed that his life is not all about prestigious events and private flights, and that he doesn't have any problem boarding a regular economy flight. Indeed, a humble legend of tennis who is sorely missed on the world's courts. Hopefully, we'll see more of him in SA. For now, though, let's stick to SA and let's find out what's happening the latest when it comes to traffic.
Thank you so much, Raul. Let's get you to work safely, and we start our traffic report up north in Randburg in Gauteng, where there's been an accident on the N1 northbound. That's after the ramp from Malibongwe Drive. That right lane is now closed. Massive delays. Please be careful or choose an alternative route if you can. Moving down to the mother city, there is some building congestion on that N2 outbound towards the Victoria interchange. Expect delays and allow for more traffic time if you can. And staying in Cape Town, there's been an accident on the N1 inbound. That's at Plattekloof. All lanes are still open though, but do expect some delays. Most importantly, stay safe out there. Let's get into the weather. So please listen up. Some warnings to issue right now. Several warnings, in fact, from the SA Weather Service. Issued in the Northern Cape areas, and you can expect hail and damaging winds. The SA Weather Service has issued several warnings for heavy and disruptive rain in several parts of the country. So let's start with a yellow level 3 warning for disruptive rain leading to flooding of roads and formal and informal settlements. That's expected over the Overberg, the Cape Winelands and central Karoo of the Western Cape today. Most of these areas experienced some good soaking rains last week. And then a yellow level 2 warning for severe thunderstorms accompanied by hail and strong damaging winds. That's expected over the central parts of the Northern Cape today. Then a yellow level 2 warning for disruptive rain leading to localized flooding of susceptible settlements, roads and those low-lying areas and bridges. And that's expected over the Walter Sisulu, the Senqu, the Dr. Beyers, Nordea and Blue Crane route. Local municipalities will be most effective, as well as the Chris Hani, Amatole and Buffalo City District municipalities as well. And then finally, another yellow level 2 warning was also issued for winds and waves, resulting in difficulty in navigation at sea. And that's between Saldanha Bay and Plettenberg Bay. Treacherous conditions. Please be safe out there. Right, let's look at the flip side of that coin, some of your beautiful sunrise views where the sun is rising. Let's start with this from Marius from East London. Wow. Geez, talk about setting the standard. Sent in this beautiful view of the clouds, that formation in the golden sky. What an eye. Then Adri from Umkomaas shared her view from within her garden. Wow, amazing. That sun peeking through the trees. And Maggie from South Beach captured her spectacular view of the beach there. Imagining waking up to that every day. You are blessed. And then Tobani from George shared his morning view of the sky filled with orange hues. You guys have blown us away this morning. Thank you so much. Professional photographers only. Now, I'm joking. All of you are welcome. Please keep sharing those views. 063-408-8863 is the number to use. Let's see how it's going to feel in your neck of the woods, getting into some of those temperatures. And we start in Polokwane, where your low is 9, going up to 24. And Mbombela, 13 and 27. Pretoria, 11, your low going up to 23. Johannesburg, 8 and 22. Mahikeng, 11, your low going up to 24. Klerksdorp, ranging between 9 and 25. Slight chance of rain in Kimberley as you kickstart your day on 12 degrees, going up to 24. Bloemfontein, 10 and 24, your rains for the day. Richards Bay, slight chance of rain and clouds there, 16, your low, going up to 26 degrees. Pietermaritzburg, 11, your low, going up to 22. Expect a little rain in Durbs and some humidity as you start your day on 18, going up to 24. The rain increases as we move to Mthatha, 12, your low, going up to 18 with a 61% chance of rain. Then East London, expect the rain today, 16, your low, going up to only 18, or 19 rather. Craddock ranging between 10 and 16, definitely inclement weather on the way. Gqeberha, 15, your low, going up to 19 with an 84% chance of rain. George, you can expect the weather as well. 11, your low, going up to 17. The mother city expecting rain today, undoubtedly ranging between 12 and 18 as a result. Worcester, your low, 9, going up to 16 degrees. Sutherland, 2 and 14 with a 99% chance of rain. Then Uppington, you might have a little bit of cloudy weather informing your temperatures today for your low, going up to 25 degrees. But as we always say, make sure it's a beautiful day, and that feeling starts from the inside. So let's find it.
Yeah, let's find it right now. Of course, we've got Zareda Jardine still chilling with us, still serving us and giving us every reason to breathe. And talking about breathing, breathwork is the act of breathing with intention and attention. It's transforming what is an automatic function to a tool for sustainable physical and mental well-being. Now, the basic idea of breathwork is to release toxins and stress when you breathe out and nourish your body, your mind, when you breathe in. So here to demonstrate some of the best techniques and explain the benefits of of breathwork, we've got health practitioner Zoraida Jardine back with us once again, and I'm so excited for this because this is the power. Breathwork. This is it. This is what it's about.
This is absolutely. What I love about breathwork is that it is an old wisdom that is making a comeback right now because it's become really trendy with people like Gwyneth Paltrow talking about it, Wim Hof and the Wim Hof method. But what's so wonderful in terms of science is that we're now beginning to do science experiments on how breathwork changes the efficacy of the way you're feeling. So let me put it to you this way. We either react to a situation or we respond to a situation. The difference between reacting is emotional and response is higher ordered. And the difference between that two is the state of your breath. So if you access your breath, when something is really getting to you and triggering you at a moment, you will respond in a different way. And that is why breath work is so important, not to mention that it's so healing as well. So I'd love to take you guys and you at home through a breath work experience, a tool that you can take anywhere. If you are alone at home, I would suggest that you do this with your eyes closed, but you can do this with your eyes open. You can do this when you're in your car. If you feel that you're getting a panic attack or you're about to go and do something that really has those nerves going, do something called the 4-7-8 breath. And what the 4-7-8 breath is that you breathe in for 4 seconds, you pause for 7 seconds, and then you do an extra long exhale for 8 seconds. So we're going to do that. You guys are going to close your eyes because I know that there's a lot going on here. I bet you, now you know what they look like when they sleep. Okay, so here we go.
Except minus the drool coming in.
Okay, so breathe in for 4 seconds.
Through the nose?
Yes, breathe in through the nose. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 7 seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And an extra long exhale for 8 seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You guys continue. If your mind shifts during the breathwork exercise, you bring it back to what's called breath awareness. And that's simply your breath going in through your nostrils and your breath going out. If you start thinking about what's going to happen for the rest of your day, the things that you have to do, bring it back to breath awareness. So in for 4 seconds. Pause for 7 seconds. And exhale for 8. See if you can also become aware of what the temperature feels like when it enters your nostrils, and then what the temperature feels like when it leaves. You'll find that the air that comes out is warmer than the air that goes in. And that's because we have those little hairs in our nose called cilia that filters out any dirt. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause for 7 seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You guys can open your eyes. I'd like to give you one more breath. And this is a breath, so that's the breath you will use when you need to calm down or you need to find yourself getting relaxed really quickly because you've got to show up for something grounded. A breath that you can use if you're suffering from insomnia. And then there's a revitalizing breath that I'd love to teach you as well. If you come to work really early in the morning, you've had a tough night and you need an energy boost, this breath will give you energy, and it's called a conscious connected breath. And basically what that is, it's exactly what it says it is. The inhale is connected to the exhale. So it's something like this. You do 20 of those. 5 more. And breathe out. Can you feel a little more energized? There we go. That's an energy breath. So there are so many different breath works that we can use for revitalization, for anchoring, for getting ourselves to sleep, and then also for healing. And I do a practice called conscious connected breathwork, which is an advanced form of breathwork therapy that also heals ailments that lie dormant in your body for years. Breathwork has an incredible ability to have that rise and heal.
I mean, I was lucky enough to do Qigong and the power of the breathing work through Kung Fu for many, many years. And I think it's probably been the key to my rehab now when we go to those painful, that pass-out pain kind of space. Where I don't know how my mind and body would be as connected were it not for this. It's a cheat code for life.
I cannot agree more.
Don't look to process everything when you can't handle that amount of information. Just short-circuit the physical process and breathe.
Absolutely.
That is amazing. How chill do you feel right now? You're lucky the eyes are open again.
Ready for the week, absolutely empowered, and I can't thank you enough for that. I think this is every reason to remind you, Mzansi, to breathe. Take that moment to reflect, to really just take into account what you have inside you. That's life, that's infinite potential. That's what I call magic, and it's here for you the entire week. The question is, what are you going to do with it?
They could have screwed us and just left the shot on for about 30 seconds and I would have felt compelled to answer you. Well, Ryle, I feel like I'm going to...
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. We are savouring every second of today's show. Why? Because we are back with one of our most beloved media personalities who is now an alternative holistic health practitioner. She is living this truth. Zoraida Jardine. And this time we're going to discuss and address, if we can, some of the complexities of the real world. Because the world's gotten very real. And for all of us, it was this individual narrative where all of us were going through these crazy things, and then we went through one doorway together, which was COVID. Everyone had to walk through that doorway, and suddenly it's a different world. Emotion means more. We're more empathetic. The world is far more complex, far more polarized. For those of our industry, we've got to live that every day. It's a real connection. But I want to put it to you. I said that there was an opportunity, or asked if there was an opportunity for solutions. when we look at the current state of being now, how do we put ourselves in not a past-based, judgment-based state of mind, a fear-based future state of mind, but an in-the-moment, listening, living, breathing that truth right now, because that speaks to adaptability and flexibility to me. How do we live in the moment?
Compassion. Compassion, Graham. I mean, I think there's so much beauty to have come out of this time. It has made us reflect. It has made us repurpose so much in our lives. I know for me personally, you know, my family went through a tough time of losing so many people to the COVID pandemic, but there's so much light and brightness that has come out of it. And I wouldn't change it for anything in the world, because the fabric of my being has changed, and the fabric of how I see others has changed. And I say the word compassion because it's so important. It's so important that we begin to look at the world and people. And I love this phrase in psychology. It's called unconditional positive regard. Do you know what that means?
I think I live that unconditionally.
Okay, so unconditional positive regard is when you look at what's happening in the world and you look at people with no judgment, 100% regard and empathy for who they are and what they're going through.
It doesn't speak, because this is, again, I want to attach my bias. I want to add a judgment to that, and this is not that. It's not forgiving a person. It's got absolutely nothing to do with them. It's about you.
Exactly.
And your state of being in the moment.
For sure.
How do you foster that? How do you wake up and grow that feeling?
By deciding how you want to feel. If I, for example, go into the world with hatred, then I'm drinking my poison and I'm expecting someone else to die. That's not going to happen. So it really starts and ends with you. You've used this word quite a few times in the segment of the show, which is going within. Going in. It starts with us. It starts with how you show up in the world. And for me, a lot of that is about the pillars of health. And the pillars of health is the things that we didn't realize were as important as we realize today.
They are fundamental.
They are fundamental. It's food. What are the foods that you're eating? You know, if you don't make food your medicine, medicine's going to become your food. It's your movement. Movement contributes to your mood swings and the way you feel. Movement is responsible for those feel-good endorphins. It's your spirituality. What is your relationship with yourself and with your others? What are your outlets? Are you breathing? Are you mindful? Are you meditating? Are you praying? Whatever it is, are you going within? It's your environment. Your environment and who you hang out with is fundamental to how you show up in the world.
Your average, yeah.
Absolutely. Are the people you hanging out with, are they optimistic? Are they guiding you and assisting you to become more tolerant, to become more resilient? If not, then you've got to shift. You know, some people we inherit in our lives, like our family, but there are others that we can choose. So you have a choice all the time to choose how you're going to show up in your life. You've got to be an active participant, and that's the one thing that the pandemic has shown us, is that if you don't go through life actively, unfortunately, you're not going to feel good. Because at the end of the day, it's about how you feel. And how you feel is your responsibility. Because then I can go, okay, this person has made me feel this way, but I understand that their life perhaps intersects in a way that I can't quite comprehend. So I may not agree with you, but I will listen to that with grace and I will move on.
I absolutely love that. And I mean, you've used the word judgment a few times, so maybe that's catching with me because it's something I'm struggling to let go of. But I can guarantee you right now, if there is a fear or a judgment involved, whether it's about yourself or about a situation or someone else, you're not in the moment. You are stuck standing still. Embrace yourself. I cannot believe how far you have come in this space, girl. Normally, I would just have a million questions to ask. Now, all I can do is try and process what you've said. This has been wonderful because it speaks to where you're at in your life, which is a very, very positive, wonderful thing, and it makes my heart explode. I love the fact that we have resources now available instantaneously online. You can drop a DM if someone inspires you, if someone can change your mindset, connect with them. But the bottom line is, you right now have to take responsibility yourself for how you feel. Feel leads to thought, leads to action, and you're in control. Zoraida, I love you, man.
Absolutely, thank you.
I absolutely love that conversation, and look at that. What time it is? It's that time to take a deep breath, fill up on some coffee, and hit pause.
It's time to hit pause with Jacobs.
All right, so I've got the beautiful Zoraida joining me inside the studio, of course, and through the entire morning serving us, and I've absolutely loved this conversation. But on top of this, Graham has also generously volunteered to make us some coffee today. Gee, what you got cooking up your sleeve? What are you making for us?
Buddy, so I got up extra early this morning, okay, and I made us some Jacobs Mocha. It's a little bit of a coffee vibe for a slightly sweeter tooth. It smells amazing and it's absolutely delicious. And of course, we've got very special VIP special friends in studio. We've got to do something special for them. So hopefully Zoraida's going to like it.
Hopefully she will. What are you thinking of the show so far? You been enjoying your time here?
Yes, it's been a long time since I've been with you guys, so it feels really good to be back. I mean, this whole production has always been, for lack of a better word, family. So yeah, family and coffee.
Oh, there we go.
Good combo.
Yeah, and this is one to warm the heart and to warm the soul and the tummy as well. So we've got our Jacobs Mocha, instant love in a cup.
Thank you, kind sir.
Thank you, Guy.
Now, while we're having this beautiful moment, maybe I can have this conversation with you. Cheers, cheers.
Yes to breath.
G. Yes, yes to breath. I want to know from you, with all of us going through a lot of these chaotic and struggling testing times in our day, how do you deal with stress management? What are some of the small things that you incorporate in your day to kind of just deal with those things that could chip away at you throughout the day? How do you deal with that?
So personally, I have been journaling since I was a kid.
Oh, nice.
And I'm still journaling, like all these decades later. I start my day with a journal and I end my day with a journal. And that is my #1 hack to releasing and processing the stuff that sits inside of me. And then, of course, breath awareness is always important. So I'm very in tuned to my body and how I'm feeling. And when we become in tuned, we feel things before it turns into disease. So once you know your body, and I know that you're very connected to body as well, once you know your body, you're able to feel what could potentially be arising, and you are able to as you were saying, hack.
Yeah, and your body will often tell you what it's
constantly communicating, 100%. I mean, you wake up and you haven't slept enough, your body feels tired. It tells you to go back to sleep. Pain in your leg, watch this issue. Don't necessarily mask it, but why is the pain there in the first place? And it's that constant dialogue that we can open up with ourselves.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. Every morning I do this thing where I kind of like just wake up, and before I put my phone on, before I do anything, I wake up, step one.
Which is a major success in our world. You don't understand.
No,
it's quite a big thing.
That, but honestly, I genuinely celebrate anything positive. I wake up and I'm like, what am I grateful for today? It's almost like this reverse logotherapy. Like, why am I not ungrateful for the day? Well, because I got shelter, I got this. You starting your day with those wins. You make up your bed in the day. You already got positive momentum.
Absolutely.
And that like accelerates you to such a nice trajectory that it struggles to almost knock you off that perch in a way. And I love that for everybody. I think we all can think of so many silver linings and so many reasons as to why we're grateful for the day and what we have in it.
Can I tell you the funny thing is, because you live a little bit closer, so my drive to work's a bit longer, and there is actually an off-ramp where that starts. I've literally trained my brain to start the positivity, the gratitude exercise by, you've got to have a bit of time to cry into your own shoulder. So like the first 2 off-ramps, I can complain about life. The third off-ramp, I've got to be starting the listing of positive things. So by the time we walk in here, you've got that positive mindset so that you can look at these big problems from a solution-driven perspective, not the judgment-based, like, because there's always a reason to blame. South Africa, we've always got a reason to blame someone else for our issues. That keeps us standing still.
I love that.
Oh, man.
You've developed a habit, which is good. You know, I read the stat the other day that said 150,000 people die every single day. So 150,000 people that are in the world today are not going to wake up tomorrow morning. So when you wake up in the morning and you practice gratitude, you're like, wow, I'm one of the ones that's here today. What am I going to do with my day? Starting your day with gratitude and ending your day with gratitude, paramount to well-being.
Couldn't have said it better. I absolutely love it. Thank you for the time you spend on the show. You are a breath of fresh air, light energy, and everything that we need. And for you, Mzansi, managing your stress in life, it starts with prioritizing your time and actively finding moments where you can take time out, quieten the mind, or do something that will bring you joy. And don't forget to breathe. Now, if you're looking for the perfect excuse to sit back and do nothing for 5 minutes, hey, I've got an idea for you. Just make yourself a cup of coffee and hit pause. Cheers, guys. And breathe.
A world full of intense aromas and velvety smooth crema. protected by a premium aluminium capsule. Magical Jacob's Aroma.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, yes, Mzansi, what an incredible show it is, and it's still carrying on right now. Welcome back. It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show, and we are carrying on with this discussion on health, mental health, the oh so important thing that we want to encourage you to talk about this week. So, according to World Health Organization, mental health conditions are increasing worldwide, with a 13% rise in mental health conditions and substance use disorders in the last decade. Now, we can have a substantial effect on all the areas of our life, such as school or work performance, relationships with family and friends, and the ability to participate in your community. Now, in addition to this, there are also additional pressures such as social media, and even more pressure for those in the spotlight like celebrities and influencers. And hey, speaking of, we've got two of them right now. Yes, Soretta's back with us, and Baz is in the building. Baz, the ever growing, the ever increasing socialite. I see you everywhere. Wow. I see you doing the things online, and this is important. I think this is why you're on the couch today, because you're still one of the realest people that I've had the opportunity to engage with in this space. And that's really important to me, man, and I hope to you too. And I think everybody needs someone like that that they can bounce off of. But maybe I can just open up the floor with this. How do you both deal with daily stress? What are the tips and tricks that you use to manage the chaos that we are living in?
Yeah.
Zoeda, maybe you can answer this one, possibly?
So first of all, I just would love to recognize, that we as people of color as well are beginning to talk more about this, because we don't come from communities that, that advocate for talking. We come from communities that push on. And that has been so detrimental to well-being, because all that does is it manifests in disease later on in life. So I'm recognizing that moment, and that's beautiful. And I heard him say that you are one of the realest people he knows, and we need more of that.
Yes.
Globally, irrespective of color. So that's wonderful. How do I deal with it? I've had to learn the long, hard way, and that is curate your social media feed. Do not follow people that make you feel any form of jealousy or begrudgment or negativity. You've got to be able to look at the people that you are following and be inspired by them, be motivated by them, and then check in with yourself. If you find at any one point in time you're feeling critical of someone, then it's time to check in with your blocks. What is happening to you? Because if you are critical of someone, it says more about you than it does of them. So leave the platform for a while. do the health work that needs to be done, and then return with a fresh eye. But there are too many keyboard warriors at the moment that are being so critical of others, and that critique is resulting in cyberbullying and sadly, sometimes suicide. So curate, curate, curate.
100%. We had an incredible guest on the show last week that spoke just about this, and it was also great to see how a community came together to actually assist her in getting out of that rut as well. Baz, how do you deal? I mean, you face things from all angles, and let's speak about, especially in our community and our culture, we have this way of just poking fun at weaknesses, poking fun at issues, making gat, for lack of a better term. How do you deal with this? You know what I mean?
So firstly, just also going off what Zoraida just said, it's and we keep hearing this in saying that you can't be what you can't see. So if you curate your feed and you choose who you want to follow, you choose what you look at. And if you're looking at positive things, positivity is what you're going to bring into your life, right? And I think that's sort of what I've done, because I don't have the option of taking a break, because it's also my job.
Yes.
So I've got to be on there whether I like it or not. How I deal with it is just like, I think it's also coming from that cultural background, like you sort of deal, but at the same time, I've also started to do like, I don't like seeing this anymore. That's no longer what I'm going to follow. That's no longer going to be part of everything that's, you know, in my feed.
Yeah, this is something that I've dealt with. And remember, I asked you this question afterwards, because I felt like, let's say my feed was starting to feed me things that I wasn't enjoying, and I wasn't really like subscribing to or resonating with. Little did I realize, like everybody else, we can just unfollow, we can unsubscribe, we can choose what we want to engage with, right? And especially when it comes to these external pressures that I know a lot of us feel, these are things that add to that weight, right? I know in social media especially, and it's something we're talking about right now, there's so many examples of this happening where you see it affecting people so pertinently. But as you have a specific example of this right now, yeah?
So I think, again, like, coming back to that, it's like, also if we start speaking about it, maybe people will be like, actually, this is not okay. And maybe they'll see the vision. So Teneo Ranaka, a media personality, last week posted on her Instagram, and she said, I understand why spirits, souls, people commit suicide. I get it and I get them. Which was a heavy thing to put out there, because now, if I'm dealing with something, it might be triggering for me as well. But the amount of love that you saw come through in the comments from people like Tumi Morake came through and said something along the lines of, yes, I get you, but also you need to find that little sliver of light. You need to fight. Minnie Dlamini also said, yes, but fight. And you can see that there is this community, and also it's now opening the conversation that other people also in the spotlight have been feeling this way, but might not have been as courageous and confident, not even confident, just didn't want to talk about it.
You know, there's a stance towards not influencing but uninfluencing, de-influencing at the moment, and that's all about what you're speaking about. It's about becoming real. I don't think we can any longer deal with people's reels of their highlighted lives. We are connecting more and more with those that are real, that are organic, that are transparent, that we can relate to. Because the reality is, you cannot relate to someone's highlight. You can't. It's not relatable.
100%. It's something you can aspire to maybe, but definitely you can't relate to. And I think that's exactly what this conversation is about.
Also, I think it also comes down to the fact that, and I think we've said it before, you don't know what the next person is going through. So your one little comment would be like, oh, your hair should have been this way, or you should have done this, or you should have done that. Could be that little thing that pushes them over the edge. And so there's this one movie that I watch, and it's my favorite quote, and I always say it, and people come at me for saying, but I say it all the time. It's like, when given the choice between being right and being kind, choose kind.
Oh, I love it. Baz, Zoraida, thank you for being a part of this session, this important conversation, for being a representative of our people and our culture too. And I think it's important to show everybody how we need to talk about this. So thank you again for this conversation. And you, Mzansi, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you can do something about bringing this to light and sharing your light with the rest of the world. I love that combo.
Joining us once again is young Amapiano star on the rise, Konke, who is making waves, and it helps when you drop a 4-time platinum debut release. We get that, but clearly you've connected to an incredible group of artists. What is it about the Amapiano vibe? Because your vocal talent you could have taken in a number of different directions. What is it about this magnetic beat? What is it about Amapiano that hooked you, bro?
I feel like Amapiano is for us, especially the young generations, the 2Ks, they usually say, the 2000. I feel like that sound, especially it accommodates us. We get to speak about new things, our experiences as 2Ks, you know. We found this world, they're very tricky now.
Yeah.
We grow up on the 21st century, so things have changed they are very different from the 90s. So now it's us trying to say we are here and this is the sound we are offering.
Yeah, this is our time, man. I love it. Malandela, new project, just dropped. What was the vibe here? What did you want to create with this?
Actually, I wanted to make sure that people get to hear the Scandiano vibes.
Brilliant.
Exactly. From the Maskandi sound together with piano in one type of music.
Yeah, you got to pay homage, dude. There's a reason why every artist is here. There's a reason why Amapiano is here.
Exactly.
You've got to look back to find it. But yeah, I'm not going to stand in your way. I'm going to let you do what you do best. Here is Konke with Malandela.
Bawuqaphela sefike thina bawubaleka bani ayikwezwakala thulubeke sileze imali bawuqhuleka bani ayibazokala athi indalo kamalandela landela besibona siphuthuma ngewisa sibacisha sibadinga bepolisa kamalandela landela besibona siphuthuma ngewisa sibacisha sibadinga bepolisa kubula kasha balabala itabakhona ngapha itamasoja zakala kithi kubula kasha balabala itabakhona ngapha itamasoja zakala bawuqaphela sefike thina bawubaleka bani ayikwezwakala thulubeke sileze imali bawuqhuleka bani ayibazokala athi indalo kamalandela landela besibona siphuthuma ngewisa sibacisha sibadinga bepolisa kamalandela landela besibona siphuthuma ngewisa sibacisha sibadinga bepolisa kasha balabala itabakhona ngapha itamasoja zakala kithi kubula kasha balabala itabakhona ngapha itamasoja zakala
Absolutely beautiful. You know, I just had it, as you pay homage to the musical journey that got you here, I can see it 30 years from now, some kid standing on this stage, I don't know if I'll still be around there, paying homage to Conker and where it all began, and I'm a piano for them. Dude, you are paving your own path now in this incredible industry, and the time is right, buddy. Oh, you're gonna do big, big things. Download, download, download. Do whatever you can to support these kind of vocals from the locals. We are here for that. One more performance coming your way. We'll see you now.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, yes, Mzansi, welcome back. Your Feel Good Breakfast Show. What an incredible show it's been, and we are still out here serving you. I've loved this conversation. Let's dive straight back into it. Let's talk about shopping, yeah?
Yeah, man. And we're trying not to depress you this morning, I know, but this might do that. So whether you love it or hate it, shopping for groceries is a massive part of our lives. It's kind of one of the fundamentals, and some of us are loyal to one retailer of choice, and then some of us like the hustle of shopping around, you know, chasing the best deals, those promos, using our cards. Well, in our Money Matters segment today, we are looking at why and how we choose to shop where we do. So break it down for us, my friend.
Yeah, man. So listen to this, right? Are you, that's the question, are you the one specific retailer kind of person?
Okay.
Or do you make the effort to shop around and knowing that certain items are cheaper in certain areas?
Sure. That's a difficult one. I am loyal above all else. So once I do have an emotional connection to someone, but I've realized people do things, different retailers do certain things really well. So it'll be a quality cost thing sometimes. And you get a bit more out of a better quality product. So you can spend a little bit more, but literally like the people at those various shops, and you know who you are, will laugh at me because they'll know what I'm coming to get from there as opposed to what I got from there. You understand what I'm saying? So maybe it's a bit of both. How are you
I feel
loyalty
the
first?
same hybrid approach as well. Like I've got my go-to where I have this sort of essentials, but I know as well, come end of the month, if you're looking for, let's say, petrol, I go to this place because it's cheaper.
A sausage
if I
roll,
want this,
you go there.
Exactly. So you kind of figure out where your specialties are and you look forward to that. So it's a hybrid balanced approach. I like that. Here's another question for you though, right? So most retailers have reward cards and offer it in-store, like those in-store promotions that you get, right? So how committed are you to utilizing rewards and promos, and how does it affect the way you shop?
I use it as a standard now.
Yeah.
You have to. If you're not using it, you're missing out because everyone is incentivizing with great deals, great points back. And if you're kind of aware of that ecosystem, you can see which is better for the cashback, which is better for the petrol.
This is true.
My one particular points card is I almost pay for all of my petrol with it now.
With it, oh,
which
nice.
is, it's a beautiful thing. Even if it's, I know I'm not really saving in the long run, it feels like I'm winning.
But it makes a
little
difference
bit.
when you're not, because I was this kind of guy that was like, I'm not a part of the system. And I just was like,
I'm the
cash is
grey
king.
man.
Yeah. And then I realized, hang on, I'm losing out big time here by not being a part of this. And I think you guys should pay attention to it as well, because you really are. There are some incredible opportunities. Here's another question, though. I love this one. Given the continuous inflation, right, we're all dealing with at the moment, have you changed the way you shop and cook at home? Have you started changing that? And what's the one way that you try to save money on groceries? You also look out for the specials?
Yeah, very much so. We're eating a lot more fresh stuff. So we kind of look for the long-term staples that you can buy at a better deal, and you know which shops are running those sorts of promotions, and look around, shop around a little bit. But I suppose it's worked hand in hand with, it feels like all of us are more interested in being healthier, eating a little bit less, wasting a lot less.
Yes.
Now, so when I feel like, I use the term ecosystem all the time, but it kind of feels like everything's feeding into one notion of better health, less redundant spend, less wastage. And it feels like, thankfully, for the first time, it's not us trying to drive this as some gratuitous paint over to sell a healthy idea, but it's the baseline. All of us are starting to think like this. How do we save money? How do we be more sustainable? How do we look at that bigger picture? So maybe the time has come.
I think the time is coming, and it's and that's the best part about it, because we're all getting educated, and we could do with this, man. I absolutely love this conversation, and here's a conversation that you should also be having with your people, with your Mensa. Have this conversation just like we are with everything else, because it makes such a big difference, and allows you to find incredible deals like we spoke about now. You can't change the prices of groceries, but we can make the effort to make better money choices like we've just discussed. So whether it's branching out and shopping at different retailers to score the best price, or being more strict with our budget, Nedbank offers you cashback to help ease the financial burden when shopping at leading retailers. So to find out all about this benefit and the specific details, visit nedbank.co.za and get your money back. Get involved.
You must be wondering how I got here, man. Enjoying Bomadi sushi, got you fucking knife over bubbles of sparkling water. But I didn't know the changes, Joe. Because I chose Nedbank, the bank that gives you discount upon discount in this country. I'll call it a bank with benefits, eh? Yeah. Value guaranteed. Seriously? Seriously.
Okay, let's inspire you right now. South African artist Sio recently collaborated with Hyundai, and her latest song and music video speak volumes. We're not done yet is what it's titled, and it celebrates and inspires the country with the ambitious SUV, the Hyundai Venue.
Oh yes, now on the Inside SA this evening, Sio showcases the new facelifted Hyundai Venue through a test drive, highlighting her experience and favorite features of the vehicle. And she also shed some light on the creative process behind her song and music video. Now check this, we've got a sneak peek of it right now, so let's bring it on.
Not nearly done, not by a long shot. And that's how you get one of the biggest car brands in the world to shoot a music video.
Well played.
I love it.
Well played.
Woo, absolutely beautiful stuff. Tune into the Insider SA tonight to go inside that story at 6 p.m. on S3. You can get the full scoop on this incredible collaboration between Sio and the Hyundai Venue.
Yeah, not done yet.
Always working longer, pushing further. 'Cause when I nearly
Open up to friendship. as a collaboration between singer-songwriter Sio and Hyundai develops into a wildly popular musical anthem. That's the Insider SA, this Monday evening at 6, repeats Saturday at 1 p.m. and everywhere for everyone, always on SABC+.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
We are savouring every second we get to spend with this young genius. Konga, I know he's got the talent, but there is something else there. There is an X factor, there's a vibe, there's a humility. I meet a lot of artists on the up and up, dude, and you've got that thing. So don't ever lose hold of that. That being said, people want to plug into it. People want to connect. People want to see you perform. What's the best way to connect to you? How can we see where you're gigging? Where can we connect? And do you answer DMs?
Sometimes I do.
100%.
But you can try finding me on any digital platform, on any social media platform of which I'm available at Konke Official. That's being Konke Official with no nothing.
I love that. And it speaks to the fact that there is such a collaborative vibe at the moment. We are seeing collaborations with audience members in your social media platforms leading to bangers. It just feels like the market is so different now. And I'm glad you raised the fact that Amapiano kind of speaks to a generation that's taking ownership of the music industry right now.
Exactly.
That being said, again, what is the goal, dude? You clearly have focus. You clearly have a vision. What is that vision? Where do you want to take this?
Actually, my vision is trying to take music, putting it together with my academics. Recently, I'm doing my last year this year. So if ever I could try, by all means, using my academics to venture more into the music industry, like management side and everything, I would be much more happy. That is actually my goal, beyond just making music alone.
And buddy, there's the difference between a talent and a calling.
Exactly.
You got the talent, bro, but this speaks to your calling, your purpose. And I've no doubt that you're going to launch careers. Your career yourself is going to hit levels that I think few of us can imagine.
Sure.
Most importantly, keep enjoying every second of it, my friend. You've earned that right. We've got one more opportunity to soak it up. Here is Konke one last time on your Feel Good Breakfast Show with Nick. Take it away, buddy.
Beso, vaya clash. familia baswi. Singeni vipeleza kuchimi. Uya beso kaya kala chimi. Afuni wa masa mafuni. Spani basa familia baswi. Singeni vipeleza ebatine batine.
Oh, that kid, he's got the voice of an angel and he's amazing, just like you. Serena, Johnny, you were on fire today. Thank you so, so much. Calm, peace, love, that's what we are about this morning. Just breathe, guys. Everything is going to be okay. We'll see you to do it all over again tomorrow. Don't forget how much we love you. Adios. Yay.
Another feel-good